This is episode 201 of the Gold Squadron podcast. I'm your host, and today I'm joined by Marcel El Capitan Manzano.
Yo. And for those listening, not watching, I gave a really bad salute. There you go. Play by play.
There you go. Will, the postman hates me, Hagewood.
There I am.
And Ryan, Claudite with a mean bite, Staniszewski.
Everyone angry at that Zam now? Zam's be burning down all of the events currently. Mean bite.
Well, as we kind of prefaced in our pre-show, today we had a plan, and we can't really go forward without addressing this. AMG, during one of their recent live streams, during their minis extravaganza, had said points for the upcoming wave are releasing on Monday. Look forward to it. And we were looking for it, and unfortunately, we haven't had an opportunity to get those points. We haven't received them. They weren't released. I did tweet them, and I was like, X-Wing points, sad face, and the little crying baby. I'm curious. So we were supposed to. We were supposed to get those points. They did release some points during the stream, and as a podcast, we were discussing whether or not to even discuss those. And I'll be honest and say that because they might be the correct points, but because we're questioning the accuracy of the information of the people who released it, because if we were supposed to receive it on Monday, today's Monday, product's supposed to release on Friday, and we don't have it. So as of right now, we don't know. So we're not going to discuss those points until we know it for sure, because we would rather use our time to talk about stuff that actually happened, and facts, right? Instead of speculation, even though we like our speculation, but we'll see. Exactly. Jeff Sanders says a PDF or it's not official. We need those points in our hand. So today, instead, we're gonna hit on a couple of topics. Marcel wants to talk about a couple of things. We're gonna hit some of our favorite lists that we saw at the Veteran Championships. We're gonna answer some of your questions that we've seen in Discord, and by that time, that sounds like a good night. That sounds like a good night. So, Marcel, I hand the reins over to you, good fellow.
Yo. Yeah, so just want to give an update and followed by an invitation, potential invitation. To the Xtc Team Championships, we are, for those not familiar with Xtc Team Championships, it's a tournament that has been held traditionally alongside the European Continental Championships. Last time it was in Poland, and then it just follows that one along. Last year, it was supposed to be in Italy. It was canceled for obvious reasons. This year, because we're still in that same situation that we were last year, we've decided to move it to online platform, which opens it up to a lot more teams to play. When we were there in 2019, it was the first time that the United States took a team over. When we were there, there was 20 teams involved, and now because of the online format, we may end up, anywhere 35, 40 teams. So things might change a little bit, not just because it's online, but just because of the number of teams that there are, and because of the pairing system and everything else. Right now, where we are with the in the process is all of the team captains for all of the different countries. We basically have a group channel there where we talk, where we discuss and basically just make fun of each other. And then we have another group where we vote on things, essentially. Basically, the length of the event, the rules, the pairing systems, hyperspace extended, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that process is actually not completed. It's still going through. We're still going through the process now. But a couple of the things have already been decided, and it's time to start building teams because it's going to be right on us before we know it. So right now where we are, and the things that we know for sure is that we're likely, because of the number of teams that there are, we're probably going to have a group stage, which is going to be kind of set up in a league format where every week, two countries will be, well, every country will pair it up against a different country, and then you'll have your matchups, play them that week, and then the next one, and that'll be considered the group stage. That'll probably run, it's not finalized yet, but it'll probably run between the June, July, maybe dip into August a little bit. And then the finalists, basically out of the 40, let's say the top 10 teams that make it out, will then play in a finals, 2-day finals tournament, and it'll be more of a round robin, the same way that XTC has traditionally been done, where basically everybody plays everybody, and we do it that way. One of the nice things about the XTC this year, the final event at least, is that there will be we're going to be partnering with streamers from almost every country. So there will be a lot of content going on, so you can follow the teams that you want to follow. If you want to follow the Brazilian team, Brazil will be streaming theirs. Same with Argentina, Chile, Poland, England, and of course, Dion, I'm sure, will be there, providing coverage for everyone. I don't think for USA. I think Dion will probably be tired of us. He'll probably want to stream everyone.
Yeah, a little bit of everything.
I see you wanting to say something.
Oh no,
Okay.
no. I mean, being volunteered for work is always fun, but I'm in.
Oh, you know you're gonna be in. I didn't even ask you. Nobody asked you because you know you're in. You were what is it called? Asked, told, no, told. Recommend. I forgot the actual. There's like this play on words, something about. You were told, basically.
I'll be there.
Yeah. And then the team formats, it's going to be 7 primary players per team, so 1 player per faction. Each faction. So if you're part of a team, you'll be representing a faction as part of that team. We haven't came up with the list restrictions yet. It'll be extended, but there's usually like added on restrictions beyond that. So every player will have a faction that they will play, and then each team is allowed 2 substitute players. So basically, a 3-month event is a long time to go. So if there's a week that work gets in the way, there will be substitutes available. Each team will have up to 2 substitutes available to just swap in and out in games. If you're busy that week, you need somebody to play the match for you. Somebody can go in and do that. Players must be either citizens or residents of the country that they are playing for, with the caveat being that each team is allowed 2 what we call mercenaries, basically hired guns. Oh, not really hired because we're not paying them. I guess they get part of the prizes, so we pay them with prizes. But they get 2 mercenaries. So if you are from a country that does not have representation in the XTC and you still want to participate, you can do that through the mercenary program, basically hired gun program. You can,
I like that, the mercenary program.
Yes, the mercenary pew pew shoot a ship for hire program, and the best way to go about that, there's always teams there may be teams that are looking for players because their community base is a little bit smaller, or if you think you're all that and a big potato chips, maybe like someone from a certain South African country, you can say, hey, I'm all that, and who wants this? Who's the highest bidder? So there'll be an opportunity to do that. And as far as the rules go, that's where we are. There's going to be more rules later on. But the reason I wanted to bring it up today is because we need to start building a team. So I put together a Google Docs form for Team USA. Also, within the next couple days to a week, I will put out, or we will put out somewhere like in the Fly Better page and in the UK page and some of the other ones, we'll put out a list of all of the captains who you can reach out to if you're from a country and you want to know how to participate. We'll put out who the captains are for each of the countries, so you can go ahead and do it that way. Additionally, I'm going to be sharing a basically like a sign-up form for Team USA. As part of that, I'm also going to have an option to say that you want to participate as a mercenary. So all of the people that want to participate as mercenaries, I'm going to go ahead and share that with all the other captains so that they can have a pool of players if they're running low on people to play for them. So I'll be doing that as well. So right before I share the form, and I'm going to share it here on Twitch, and then I'll also go around and share it on social media, and probably put it somewhere in the YouTube.
Yeah, it'll be linked in the description down below, and it will be the link that's in the podcast description.
Yep. And then go ahead and apply. We were calling it apply because I'm guessing we're going to have more than 7 people that want to play. Or just understand that if you're applying, you have to be okay to basically you're committing to what's essentially going to be like a 3-month event, 1 game per week up until the weekend, and then make yourself available that weekend. You are also committing to there will be an entry fee. We don't know what that entry fee will be. It'll probably be somewhere between $10 to $30, depending on how much prizes we want, how many prizes we want. So that'll drive that. That's still undecided for that. You also need to agree to be okay with, if you want to play and you get selected, you might end up being a substitute. So you have to be okay with that. Just kind of be on standby. And finally, you must agree to the Xtc rules, but being that this is an online event and most of the pairings and everything else will go on just like on a one-on-one on a day between 2 captains, you have to agree to basically not argue. If you get matched up with someone, you get essentially the way that the pairing system always works is some people have to bite the bullet for the rest of the team. And you take a bad matchup, so maybe you could have a couple good matchups later on. So you have to be a team player, and you have to be willing to try to do the best you can with a suboptimal matchup. And also, during the list building process, you have to be okay to basically get told, no, that's not what you're going to fly, because that's going to be kind of a group effort to get the list together. You might love Poe, but if we say no, Poe is not the right player for this event, you have to be okay with kind of, again, being part of a team. That's team tournaments are a little bit unique. You just have to be okay not being fully an individual. That's what I got right now. As I'm sharing the list on the chat here, so people can start signing up, whoever's interested. Does anybody have any questions? And I'm actually not logged into Twitch.
So, I'll add on top of it.
Post it for me.
I'll add on top as another helpful point. Make sure you are also flexible for scheduling matches, because there is a very extremely almost guaranteed percentage you are going to be matched with someone in a very different time zone. So you have to be flexible and be able to work with your opponent to get the matches scheduled up.
Yeah, and again, since this is a team tournament, if you don't make your match, you're letting not just yourself down, but you're letting an entire team down. But hopefully,
You're
like I
letting
said,
your
subs will-
country down.
You're letting down your country unless you're a mercenary and you infiltrated it somehow, some way. You infiltrated.
Marcel, do you know anything about the lists? Are they locked in? Do they change? Will they change if points change?
That's still being determined, but where it's headed right now, it's going that when the tournament starts for the group stage, let's say it's June and July, that's what you're locked in for June and July. But then when the round robin finals occur, that you can refresh your lists for that final round robin with the updated points. But at the beginning, during the week to week, they're locked in.
Cool. All right. So, yeah, if you want to be a part of Team USA, go ahead and fill out that form. And, again, Marcel's also collecting mercenaries, and that information, like he said, will be shared with the other team captains if Marcel thinks it benefits Team USA, right? I mean, I'm not biased, but I'm just saying.
No, I mean, I'll share it with everyone, but I'll share with certain countries first. Like we can share with Poland. They're scrubs over there. They need all the help they can get, right?
Oh, okay. All righty. Yeah, and with the time flexibility thing, like that is really that's a big issue. Like, for instance, that's a reason why I wouldn't even consider applying, because my time is so taken up. Like I would honestly love to play. I would love to play. This is right up my alley. I love team tournaments, but I know that I can't. Right? Like it's not my style. And remember, we have plenty of organized play coming in other ways. If you can't participate in the XTC, don't worry. There's more stuff coming for you. But if you can, come out and represent Team USA. Being a team player by not signing up. Exactly. that is true. That is 100% true. If it doesn't work for you, then that's cool. That's cool. All right. Just double checking. Check. My audio went a little funky there for a second. Hot take, more X-Wing events should be team events. I mean, I really enjoy team events. Online team events can be a little bit more. I would tell you, I really enjoyed, like, we did Outrider previously. That was really fun. I would be, in-person stuff is great. Fast Walker says, wait, I thought you only require a 30-minute meditation instead of sleep. I wish. So now that we're done with XTC, we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the last two qualifiers. We didn't get an opportunity to do that, or not qualifiers, last two championship events, the Recruit and the Veteran Championship. But instead of going through every single list, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to pick and choose what are some interesting lists that we've seen, what are the trends that we're noticing, and just give you some insights, maybe some games to look at that got on stream, being able to see some of these lists in action. And because remember, those games are going up on YouTube. I believe tomorrow the last of the Recruit Championship will be uploaded on YouTube, and then the Veteran Champs. It went up today. There you go. Mm-hmm. So then tomorrow starts the veteran uploads. And of course, if you're a Twitch subscriber, you can watch them now. Like they're live down there. But let's go ahead and let's get it started. Ryan, tell me about a list that you like. Which championship is it from? And let me know.
Well, let's just start with the Recruit Championship, kind of working chronologically, at least in my brain. So a variation on something that I tried a little while back on Flight Club nights, where I had brought a lot of Mining Guild surveyors with Marge Sable closure. The overall rank number 1, Liam Lee from the Recruit Championship, went 6-0, brought 6 Mining Guild surveyors, all with Marge Sable closure, and then Sarah Sue with Marge Sable closure, hull upgrade, and tractor beam. So that combination I've looked at another list variant where you can put strain on something, making it much easier to get that more dangerous and permanent tractor beam on the opposing ship, and then everyone's firing at an opponent with much less agility. And if there's still strain on that ship, that strain and tractor actually double on top of each other for -2 agility until the strain fully goes away. And obviously, steering suit with the rerolls means those 3 agility ships are all much more difficult to take out.
Will?
This is actually one that we didn't catch on stream during the recruit list, but now I kind of wish we would have had the chance to. Tom oh, terrible names. Candlin. Oh, man.
Candlin.
I think I'm going to blame that one on my eyes. Anyways, rocking a Scum Initiative 4-piece. Genesis Red with proton torpedoes, Joy Rekoff, Torps and Predator, Lando with Hondo, Bosk, Zam, Greedo, False Transponders, Electronic Baffle. I tried something similar in the, well, not quite similar. I had Lando and Hondo and Joy with ion torpedoes plus some other fangs, but taking the same idea of comboing the just raw attack power of these ships. Genesis Red with his 4 dice. If he gets coordinated by Lando, that's a double mod. Joy, if she can take away your dice and reroll her own with Predator, that's super high efficiency. Bosk as well with Zam and Greedo. So 3 super heavy hitters and then a little support piece as well. I feel like this is geared towards all the I3s you can see in Jedi Knight, Red Squadrons, obviously. We saw those in the finals. Then also Barons and Inquisitors of all varieties, all Initiative 3. So I think that's a really interesting take for Scum Hyperspace to get some heavy hitters out there and not reaching for the high initiative, just going for just what you need, which is I4 to be able to attack first and initiative kill things.
All right, let's go ahead and let's stick with Scum. Let's stick with Scum. Now, one of the things that was obviously very prevalent throughout both veteran and recruit, but right now we're sticking with recruit, is if you were bringing Scum, a lot of them had Zam crew. There's a ton of Zam. You know, Ryan, in the opening, you were joking about how mean Zam is, and really it's very, very prominent out there. Many instances of that pilot and or crew showing up. Now, if we go ahead and take a peek here, I'm trying to readjust my screen. As you guys know, we're doing some new setups here for our podcast, so please forgive us as we experience some growing pains. Let's go ahead and see if we can transition to this screen. There we go. Okay, so if we go ahead and look up Scum and Villainy. All right, we go from the top. Yep. And we scroll down just a bit. Here is one of the other lists that actually does show up 2 times that we're going to be able to talk about this. These triple bounty hunters. Triple bounty hunters is a Scott Forster. Now, there's 2 different versions we've seen. This one, really interesting, has Connor nets. The Andrasta title gives you... I believe it gives you the extra bomb slot. So you have thermal detonators on all of them, plus the Andrasta title for the Connor nets. Now, we didn't get to see Scott play, but these fire sprays, one of the strengths that we've seen is the fact that they are a back arc ship that can consistently throw 3 dice out the back. They're also chunky enough to be able to stay alive. And one of the things right now, is everything okay? People are having a hard time hearing? No. Okay, sorry. Dion's louder than everybody else? Hopefully that's better now. Sorry about that, guys. This is a squad that I'm really a fan of, and I want to continue to see how this evolves. We do end up seeing it make the cut again in the veteran championships. Marcel, what's another scum squad that interested you in the recruit championship?
I think he stepped out to reset real quick.
Reset. All right.
He was Mr. Pixelated. Oh, he just came back. Marcel. Switch your mic again.
All right. Well, we'll get Marcel here in a little bit. You know the ship I want to talk about, guys? Let's talk about the V-Wing, because I think that little ship is starting to, what's the word I want to use here? We blew it off at first. Let's admit it. At least in hyperspace, it's starting to make a comeback. What are some of those reasons, Will?
Well, we had Freaky G, I guess. That name caught me off guard. Anyways, we had him on stream. I believe it was one of the games. And it was Hound, not Warthog in the LAT. Hound, with the 104th Battalion, and then 4 of the Loyalist V-Wings. No upgrades in sight here. And it was, I originally thought it was going to be, let's zombify everything or whatever. But surprisingly, this list didn't need it to be effective. With the rerolls from the Hound, and then just the blocking power and maneuverability. And honestly, 3 agility tankiness for what that's worth. A little variance dependent. But with 3 agility, 2 shields, 2 hull, the V-Wings just are the same defensively as any A-Wing or V-Wing, which we rate very high. So I think a sleeper hit was just a kind of a jousting list, but actually I think this is kind of working the opposite, that having mass initiative 2s to be able to block the I3s was probably what found him success.
Very cool. Yeah, these V-Wings are coming up in a couple of different flavors. Now we'll get back to the V-Wing. Let's talk about the elephant in the room here. If we go to the very, very top, of this event, the winner was a Django and Zam double fire spray list. It's really good. Period is where we're at here, and you're going to notice some other similarities. Now, one of the things I want to do is, I know that we have players of different skill levels who listen to our podcast, and what I want to do is take a bit of a dive into this list and talk about why. Why is it good? What makes it so that so many people are taking it? Obviously, there's always that effect of you see a list doing good and you're going to have a lot of people who are trying it because it's a known commodity. But what about this setup? Because it's not always completely identical, but there is definitely a pattern that we're noticing. The exact list is Django. This is, by the way, Fabian Zikowski was the winner of the recruit championship. Brought Django Fett with Treacherous, Count Dooku, thermal detonators, false transponder codes, and hull upgrade. Then Zam in the fire spray as well, with Treacherous, thermal detonators, false transponder codes, hull upgrade, Slave 1 title, and Boba Fett. Now, what are some of the... Ryan, pick an upgrade and tell me why it works so well in this. Any one of them, because they all really do benefit this list. Pick one and talk about it a little bit.
I mean, let's talk about what I think is the easy one, but has a lot of rippling effects in a game overall. Dooku crew, right? You're bringing a force charge. That's simple, right? We know force is good, but Dooku's effect, before you roll, you can call a result. And if you don't get that result, you get it. Like, it's a guarantee this is going to happen. Now, that happens on attack, defense, friendly or enemy ships within range. I believe it's 0 to 1 because it has to work on yourself. Or sorry, 0 to 2. So you could affect if you're very confident, if you got a full string, focus, lock, you are confident in your results. You just let it all ride. Use your full mods for the attack. And then just say you're going to call a blank on your opponent's defense dice, even guaranteeing more crazy worse damage. On top of that, anytime your opponent decides that they're going to have to go through an obstacle, especially if it's a rock or debris, look, you're guaranteed to take a damage now. If when you drop those thermal detonators, hey, guess what? That's a guarantee. One of those thermal det rolls is going to be a guaranteed damage. So any die roll, you got to be aware of Dooku. But also as the Dooku user, you need to know when it's the right time and the wrong time. It's a lot of stuff where you do a little bit of the math. Knowing that there are less focus results on a green die than there are evade results. So if you already have a focus, you probably actually want to call focus on your green dice versus evade, most likely depending on the amount of dice you're rolling, if you're okay spending that focus defensively. On offense, does it make more sense to, if you have a lock, should you Dooku or should you not Dooku? Like most of the time, you want to call a crit for Dooku on your attack dice because it's only 1 of 8. But depending on the amount of attack dice you roll, and if you have a lock, you're actually pretty likely to roll a crit anyway, just for the amount of times that you're rolling once and then potentially using the lock to re-roll it. So a little bit of math thinking for the user, but a lot of wide-ranging effects that you going against someone who has Dooku crew need to be concerned and aware of.
There we go. Take another, Marcel.
All right, what am I taking? The Separatist, or what am I supposed to be doing here? Oh, I had technical problems while you were, guys were.
I got you, Marcel. I got you. We're looking at Fabian's winning list for recruits. Just kind of breaking down some upgrades on the fire sprays.
Okay, you guys already talked about Treacherous?
Nope.
Go for it.
Hit it.
All right, Treacherous. So actually, I didn't see too many games this weekend, but the few games that I saw Treacherous there a lot. And Treacherous essentially allows you to cancel a hit or a crit if that attack is basically if that attack overlaps another. Is it just a ship or an object as well? Just a ship, right?
Because you
So
you can't assign tokens to other things, so it'd have to be a ship.
So in most cases, you're trying to do it to an enemy ship. So if you're getting attacked by somebody in the back row of a swarm, you want to be able to take that ship in the front. Basically, that you cancel 1 damage, and then that ship takes a strain, and then that's a one-time non-recurring charge unless a ship dies at a certain range. I don't know if it's range 3, range 2. But if a ship dies in your vicinity,
Range 0 to 3.
0 to 3. So if a ship dies at range 0 to 3, then you recover the charge and you can do it again. Super helpful for especially like this 2-ship list where you're in hyperspace right now. You're seeing a lot of 6 and 7 ship lists, so it's very helpful because you use it early, and then more than likely you're going to kill 1 or 2 ships to get it back. So it ends up being super helpful. And on top of that, you're straining them so that if they're not doing a blue maneuver, basically forces them to do a blue maneuver, or you make them easier to kill. So super, super good upgrade for the times right now. So right now that there's all that, all that bulk, 4, 5, 6, 7 ship lists, you can toss on some damage. Oh, and additionally, if you get hit with multiple shots, you can choose what you cancel. So you can take the hits first, like the hit, and then use it when the crit effect happens. So you're essentially just knocking out the crit as well.
Yeah, that the fact that it doesn't say like it doesn't force you into a specific damage. It just says hit or crit. You're just like, yeah, I'm just gonna not take the crit and use the effect. It's really powerful. Will?
Mine's got to be the false transponder codes. JM tokens and actions have honestly been a meme in X-Wing for so long. Like we used to get so excited when someone did a jam action, or to see a jam token out on the board was very exciting. They just essentially, there was really never a good platform for it or a way to put jam tokens out. But now we have the one-time use false transponder codes. If you're not familiar, you have to, the first time you lock a ship that can take a jam token, or excuse me, an object that can take a jam token, most likely a ship. First time you lock a ship or a ship locks you, that other ship is then jammed. So you can take off their locked, most likely. Or what these fire sprays do is they come up and they will jam / lock the ship that they are trying to both shoot at. The ship that is has the most potential to do damage to them. So it's actually they're using it in an interesting way, almost offensively, to kind of prevent ships from spending focuses on defense, having free evade tokens, things of that nature. But I just want like one single jam token doesn't seem like a lot, but I've been thinking more about jam as blocking a ship without the penalty of having to not be able to shoot at it. And most ships or any lists.
Will, I like that. I like that. That is a fantastic comparison there.
Yeah, I've dabbled in the Reapers, and that's what my strategy with Vermeil would be a lot. Is just like, hey, if I move after you, I'm gonna jam you. If I move before you, I'll just block you then. Either way, you don't have a token. And so for these two ship builds that don't have the luxury of a blocker or even a ship to run interference with them, that's a great way. Plus, I think it follows the suite of all of these actually being defensive upgrades. Like I said, taking away someone's attack modifier back onto you with the false transponder codes, or someone's trying to shoot a droid, not shoot a droid, shoot a proton torpedo at you. They can't because you have false transponder codes. So it lets you get that kind of first pass without too much trouble with these fire sprays.
And Will, to go on top of just kind of talking about the jam action here a little bit, one of the other things that it does, or sorry, let me regress here. One of the other reasons why I think we didn't see it previously is false transponder codes, if you want to break it down, says you may perform a target lock and a jam action at one time. It's not costing you an action. And with your blocking analogy as well, it's like you're getting to block them, do an action, and then another action on top of that. You get to do the jam and the target lock, and you get to shoot them. I mean, it even with a one-time use, it's really powerful.
Yeah, especially on a ship that's already got force. So it's bring in like Treacherous is a free evade, the Force is a free focus modifier. Like they get target lock action and jam action. Django kind of has a juke on him as well. So these things are just carrying around just a weight of modifiers and defensive tech on them.
By the way, those of you who are watching live at home right now, I believe I just made an !XTC command in the chat. You should be able to access that application anytime. And even those of you who are watching later on or listening at home, if you just jump on Twitch, open up our chat and type XTC, you'll get that application right away. Pulls it up immediately for you. And for myself, I want to, even all memes aside, I also want to talk about hull upgrade, okay? Now it's important. It's important specifically because it makes the number of health go from 10 to 11, which increases the threshold of damage you can take before giving up half points. In a two-ship list, giving up half points on one of these ships, you're giving up usually around 50 points every time you do that. It can be absolutely imperative that hull upgrade. You know, you've taken 5 damage, but then you kill your opponent, and you're up on points. But if you wouldn't have had a hull upgrade, you could end up being behind in that game. So small, but I wanted to bring it up. And then additionally, thermal detonators. We have seen a ton of thermal detonators. I'm curious, how many thermal detonators were in Recruit? Let's go ahead and just type out thermal detonators. 20 copies. 20 copies of thermal detonators in the Recruit Championship. It is an absolutely fantastic bomb. And going back to his list, okay, going back to Fabian, the championship.
Recruit or veteran?
This is Recruit. Excuse me. 20 copies in the Recruit Championship. In addition, just the thermal detonator, just bombs in general work really well on the fire spray because they like to use the back arc. All right, they like to use the back arc. They have that same threat, 3 dice out the back, and if you follow to get shots, which, I mean, that's the game, right? We fly around and shoot each other. You're going to be eating some bombs. It's going to happen. And, of course, having that flexibility, 1, 2 straight, is just absolutely excellent. Absolutely excellent. Now, before we bounce from the Recruit Championship, I want to do a couple of highlights here. I want to do highlights before we move on to Veteran. Cam Murray brings 5 T-65 X-Wings. Right? 5 T-65 X-Wings. Somebody in the chat asked, why couldn't he bring the rookies instead and have a droid? Why did he have to bring the Red Squadron veteran, the Initiative 3? Somebody want to take that?
Yeah, so one, the droids don't matter enough, to be honest. I think, it's a 2-point difference right now between, or is it a 1-point difference? Let's see. T-65, Blue Squadron, Red Squadron, 2-point difference. All right, droids you get for 2 points, not worth that much. But you know what else is really prevalent? Other I3s. So it'd be really sad that if all the Jedi Knights, all the Inquisitors, all the Barons, or anything else that wants to come play in the I3 territory started to emerge more in the meta. It'd be really sad if all your 5 I2 X-Wings just had to deal with those other lists that realistically are just become a more initiative killing, better jousting list than you anyway. Most commonly because of the Knights and the TIE V1s, much more maneuverable. So not only can they probably still joust better than you, but you're also in a situation where they are more maneuverable than you and can get around you a lot better. So may as well at least shoot them at the same time, because I know most of those lists are starting to take bids anyway against each other, but the X-Wings can't. But at least they get to shoot.
Fantastic. And as we just kind of peek at some of these other top lists in the Recruit, and by the way, we're going to end up seeing some of these same ones pop up in Veteran. We got some Baron of the Empire action here. Let's talk about the Ruthless in these TIE V1s. Will, you want to talk about the hilarity of Ruthless at Initiative 3?
Oh man, it is very much like I love this list, by the way. This is so good. It's perfect in this environment of that I3 because this has a significant bid, 196, which means you can make sure that you can take second player. Now you may get blocked, which we did see quite a bit of in one the game we caught with this. I believe it was top 4. But the fact that in X-Wing, when a ship dies, is destroyed. It remains until all other of the same initiative shot. even if they're on the other team, like for the second player. So in the matchup, it was against 5 X-Wings, those red squadrons that you were just talking about. So the red squadrons all get to shoot, and they just took a bunch of range 1 shots into one of these barons. Every other baron then who was shooting at anybody range 1 of the dead ship all gets free ruthlesses then, because they can use that dead ship to generate automatic hit conversions. It essentially takes the penalty away from ruthless, which is crazy because it is a steep penalty to do damage to one of your 4 health ships. But if it is already dead, who cares?
It is literally beating a dead horse.
Yeah, I mean, I think it does have like other uses of like you're shooting the threat chasers don't have this in this one. For example, you're shooting your proton rocket. Your ship has 3 health and 2 agility. You could make sure that you get 5 hits and kill that ship, and that kind of essentially triple modifying 5 dice between the lock you may get from threat tracers and the proton rockets, and then the automatic conversion is some of the most modified attacks we have in X-Wing right now. And the fact that you can bring 4 of them in a single list is bananas.
Absolutely love it. Is there anything else from the recruit championships that we want to hit? We hit some highlights. We talked about the top list, why it's good. Go ahead, Will. Go ahead.
I need your help here. I need to find out what place Travis Smithwick placed.
Travis Smithwick. Shout out to Travis Smithwick. He's one of our longtime supporters and patron. I know that name. I noticed that name when I'm packing stuff. He placed 42nd. He went 3-3 in the recruit championship.
That was the best placement for resistance in the entire tournament. Poe, Elo, and Zizi doing some. Because you can't bring 9, so you might as well bring Elo with our 6D8, which I believe is the reroll person, because he is bringing prockets there.
Yeah.
Trying to utilize the white talon rolls and then closing the wings to do probably a focus linked barrel roll. Line up that procket. Pretty cool.
I like that. Yeah.
This is a real triple ace list here, bringing some 3 heavily modified. Potentially heavily modified 5 dice attacks too. And I think that's kind of just kind of keeping up with resistance. They seem to be they've fallen far, far beyond the wayside of the other 6 factions. So I just want to keep checking with them, make sure that they're doing okay.
Resistance, you okay?
Spoiler alert: we did see a better result in veterans, and when you mentioned 9-Nub, 9-Nub is in hyperspace, but for one more point, you don't have pattern analyzer, so nobody takes 9-Nub anyway.
Yeah, you should have pattern analyzer. Like, you need it. You need it. That's how 9 works.
You ask resistance players if they're okay, and all they do is yell, "Heroic!
Heroic!" oh, that's also not hyperspace legal.
But also not hyperspace, so what do they yell anymore?
I don't know.
That's what I'm saying.
They just yell because they're just,
they just yell.
I remember for a long time, and even recently, like, people have debated how good heroic is, and it's not even worth the 1 point. Throw marksman, throw all this other stuff on there, and it was a big topic of conversation for a long, at least for the first year that it came out, and even more recently. Like, oh, now it's 2 points. It's not that good. Heroic makes night and day difference for resistance, and you're giving that look, Ryan, but that conversation
disagree.
Was there for a long time.
I disagree. I still disagree with you, though. It's advanced optics.
It's the combination of both.
Yeah, it's a combination of both, but heroic more so because advanced optics typically is only attached to the A-wings, where
but the A-wing
Heroic
is
on
the resistance.
T70s. Like Heroic makes T70s so much better because it's only 1 point on the T70s. There's 2 points on the A-wings because of the 3 agility, but it's only 1 point on the T70s, and it comes into play more often because of the 2 agility green dice. That you're more likely to get 2 agility green dice on those, and it triggers more often on the T70s.
But what T70 was tearing up the world in extended? None. So
Well,
it's a moot
Let's
point.
clarify. In extended, we've seen more generic T70s, which are not available in hyperspace.
True
So
that.
there is that. And I do agree with Marcel. Heroic is a good value on T70s. It makes them feel like they will last way longer than they should have because it's way more often you're going to roll 2 blanks on that than the 2 blanks on the A-Wings. But granted, I will still say advanced optics as an upgrade has a bigger effect on Resistance's viability in hyperspace than Heroic does, because Heroic was on chassis that aren't even available in hyperspace right now as it is.
Yeah, let me ask Marcel, question for you. Just take a wild guess. How many A-Wings do you think were in the entire RZA 2s? How many RZA 2s were in the entire Recruit Championship?
Well, I see 1 right there, ZZ. So I would say 4 or 5.
1.
That was the only one.
That's easy. Is the
That's
only
a misuse because I mean even Merle, like
Merle for sure.
Merle should be in there somewhere. I mean, Merle's benefit is super cheap, very good blocker at I1. It's good for messing up. The little F3As hate that little blocker. But oh well.
Okay, question. Okay, would we see more resistance? Let's say we flipped some of their hype. We left all the upgrades the same, but we flipped some of their hyperspace legality stuff. What if the tech to make the Super Ray? You know, because Ray is not hyperspace legal. Ray was one of the bigger punchers in extended that we would see for resistance. Maybe the lack of resistance is not only the A-wing problem, but the reality that we don't have access to Ray. If Ray was hyperspace legal, maybe we'd see some more resistance performance.
I think we'd see a lot more like Ray Poe lists.
Yeah.
Or just
Ray Poe or Ray 2 A-wings or Ray with a bunch of is Chewbacca allowed?
I mean,
no
Falcon is.
Okay, because they also you'd get like Chewbacca with a bunch of those
Or fireballs.
fireballs or something. Yeah.
I mean, so what if you recall, what do we see the meta start to emerge when Nantex was a thing? We saw Ray and 2 A-Wings both with prockets, right? If that was available now, that amount of heavy hitting firepower could very easily erase 1.5 Barons right now.
Easily.
So, sure. That could be a thing. But granted, also those Barons, if set up the right box, could really hurt Ray really, really bad.
Foresight.
Stealth device isn't going to last very long on that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, resistance right now, at the bottom of that hyperspace meta. Anything else for recruits before we bounce off over to vets? Nope. All right, let's bounce. Heading to the Recruit Championship, which happened this last weekend. Here we are right here. Boom. Our champion was Mike Messiah with General Grievous, Zam Wessel, and Burwer Kret. The runner-up was Ernestus Ramanauskas flying Django Zam. Now, I'm going to kind of work backwards here. The Django Zam list was not exactly the same as the one that we had previously that was the winner for Recruit, but quite similar. The twist here was the fact that on Zam, there is Suppressive Gunner. Suppressive Gunner is available there. Absolutely. And let me tell you, not just, some people are like, Suppressive Gunner, what's that? It actually got used. It's after you perform an attack, you can spend a focus result to add a strain or take a or they could, the enemy ship can take a damage, but they almost never do. But they take a strain, and having a 2-ship list. A deplete, excuse me. A deplete there, reducing the attack effectiveness next time. Very good.
That sounds
Very
like a
good.
defensive upgrade. Mm-hmm. Which makes sense.
Yeah, and so when you look at that, I might see a little more. It's up in the air. Which ship technically could make more use of that upgrade? On the basis that Zam could get 2 attacks, yes, you could dole out 2 deplete in a turn, but also Django's at I6, so you could affect more ships that haven't shot yet with Django. Django just being the ship that neuters their offense back at you, whereas Zam is the full heavy hitter. You could put Dooku crew back on Zam, because I believe they had put Dooku on Django in this one.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Yes.
So I don't know. I'd be curious to see if swapping those around, Slave 1 and Suppressive Gunner and Dooku, swap their chassis and see what it's like. Ornasis might have already tried that. Wasn't really working out.
I think the difference here is that with the Suppressive Gunner combination, you're only at 199. So perhaps a list with multiple I5s, which might make you shoot first anyways. We're seeing, I mean, there's like Kylo still floating around in hyperspace. There's still plenty of I5s who are probably taking a bigger bid than just one.
Absolutely. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is let's continue to scroll down and let's see what other familiar faces, what other familiar
Yeah, at least
aces
name
we end up seeing.
the winner, Joan.
Oh, I did. Mike Messiah. I did.
Oh, fair enough. Fair
Yeah,
enough.
Mike Messiah, and his Zam decked out. It is the Zam build, the most common one: treacherous, Count Dooku, thermal detonators, false transponders, and hull upgrade. General Grievous making a comeback, and I was chatting with James, our co-commentator buddy, about General Grievous, and we were going back and forth and asking, why have we been seeing General Grievous so much? And I have my reasoning, my prediction, my guess is the fact that because a lot of the things that would prey on Grievous at I4, a lot of those aren't being used. There's a lot of things at I3 that are into generic, so you have some information. He can be more acely. And additionally, he just slots in so perfect with Zam and something else. It's just absolutely fantastic tech. You have the rerolls, and the survivability can be potentially really, really good.
I'll add on there, other than fire sprays, there's not a lot of, I guess arcs. There's not a lot of big like turrets flying around. Like we said, Rey. We don't see Han without Kanan and R2-D2 in hyperspace. So I think a couple other things that would prey on him just aren't in hyperspace.
All right. Now, as we continue down here, Ben Roberts brought some Rebellion goodness. This is basically, I mean, this is a Rebel standard, right? 10 Nub, Dutch, Jake, and Garvin. Like, I think this is like the Rebel hyperspace named list. Am I wrong?
I mean, this is like a Will special. I feel like this is Will. Will's name's written all over this list.
Yeah, I really like this. You get Dutch, Jake, and Garvin in a single list. I don't care what the fourth ship is, as long as it's named.
Well, it's even a double shooting B-wing. I know you like that with Dutch as well.
Ooh, it's not. Yeah, if you go down to a B-wing, if you don't rock like a Luke or Callus or something, you can fit those juicy extra munitions on Dutch and Jake. Proton torpedoes and proton rockets. I like that. I like squeezing. I'll be honest with you. I have a hard time running Jake without proton rockets anymore. It's just so good.
Now, as an avid Dutch player, I mean, obviously Ben doing really well with the proton torpedo version of Dutch, but my personal thoughts is I like to keep them light but still threatening with, say, an ion torpedo in like a dorsal turret what are your thoughts between, because I'm looking at the list. Dutch is just as expensive as 10 Nub, and they're both the highest costing ships in the list.
Yeah, I think Dutch with bombs makes sense if you have the points. Like, bring your bombs. But I'm an ion cannon or ion torpedo man myself. I would not put that points, but you have a really good chance of double modifying that proton torpedo. And as we've been saying, you may see a lot of lists with generics. So being I4 isn't as bad as it would seem on the surface. The problem is, I don't know what you do against false transponder codes. You kind of had to just punt the first engagement for that and hope it works out.
Well, I mean, you could, with Dutch's ability, couldn't you? You can just give yourself the lock.
Well, no, because it's Dutch's lock.
Does it say another
would go
friendly
first?
ship?
And then after you do a lock, you can give a lock to somebody else. So it would always be Dutch's lock. Now, granted, you could obviously just come up in with 10 Nub and take the lock action, and then Dutch could just give him one anyways. So there's ways around it.
Yeah, because Dutch's text is after Dutch performs the lock action, you may choose one friendly ship at range 1 to 3. So 0 would have been
3.
him, doesn't apply to him.
Fantastic. And then we get Tom Cadlin here. I think we brought this one up earlier. Sorry.
Yeah,
this
no,
one wasn't
I had too many tabs open.
I was searching so much. I was like, where is this in Recruit? I can't find it.
I don't know. I was purely my mistake.
I believe this is the highest placement we've had with a list that includes one Hondo Onaka.
That is true.
Let us remind the people what's Hondo?
No, more like, what does Hondo do? Because if you don't know who Hondo is, are you a Star Wars fan?
Oh man.
Oh man. Anyway,
gotta go back and watch those kids shows.
Hondo Onaka, a crew upgrade. Action: choose 2 ships at range 1 to 3 of you that are friendly to each other. Coordinate one of the chosen ships, then jam the other. Ignore range restrictions. So whether you're using it on zone list or the enemy list, there's a lot of, especially as we continue to talk about, if used against TIE Barons, you can just coordinate one that's stressed, no problem, and jam the other. Or you could help yourself, and you could, I don't know what, depends on whatever list, whatever ship might be out of the fight, might be worth jamming your own ship. Bosk probably coming in really hot and being really, really deadly, eventually has to make a pass, and you can just start jamming Bosk to help out your own friends too.
That, and you usually do just target lock a rock early on, and you get to use it several times.
Well, these ships do want to take their locks, though. Bosk with his false transponder codes and Genesis with his proton torpedoes. Joy can use her proton.
Yeah, but what you're doing
differently.
You're just doing it for the initial engagement. So you're just even if Bosk has it, you still, or one of the other ones have it, you still want to like take it off, and then let Bosk, and give somebody a double action. So even during the initial run, you get the double.
I would counter that by saying, unlike, say, Rose, who only gets their coordinate through their upgrade card, Lando in the Escape Craft does still have a red coordinate that you could use before combat and just stress yourself. Because Lando's ability is to take a stress and reroll his dice.
Yeah, that's why you don't want to do it. You want to keep him unstressed, to give him an ability to reroll either offense or defense. So you want to not stress him if possible.
Yeah.
Also, they don't have the best blues.
Sure.
It's a very cheap ship, though, so he does what he has to do. But yeah, Marcel's right. You can take the early locks. And Dion, please help confirm this, because I thought I heard this on stream that Dion may have ruled it in this way. If Bosk were to lock a rock in the early game, does that pull the false transponder?
Not anymore.
No. No,
So
no,
you
it does
can't-
not.
You cannot put a jam token on an obstacle.
Yeah, it was ruled that obstacles cannot have tokens. They can be locked, but they cannot have tokens.
Okay.
Yeah, it
Weird.
would also-
But that helps get around the Hondo issue with false transponder codes, as
Yeah.
we talked about.
Yeah, it also would work for remotes and bombs. Actually, I don't know if you can lock a bomb. I assume you can.
It's
know why you
an
couldn't.
object. It's an object. No, why not?
Yeah, you can lock a bomb, but you couldn't jam a bomb.
No,
which
you
would be
can't
cool.
jam a bomb.
So,
Can't
like-
jam a remote.
Jams
Sad
on
face.
bombs should work like delay fuses, right?
That would be kind of cool, an offensive way to delay it. I'd be
like that, Will. Oh,
There you go.
AMG,
let
call
Jam
them
do
up.
more things.
I like that a lot.
Hey,
Oh,
you know what? We
man.
don't have to increase the cost of bombs as much anymore. Hey, look, we got an innate ability to just like we jammed the bomb, we jammed the signal, we stopped it. Whatever.
I mean, you can extrapolate that a couple different ways. Jamming bombs. If you jam a remote, you can't use the effect that turn. You know, you wouldn't be able to do a target lock with the probe droids or the
Oh, it wouldn't get to move either in the system phase.
right, or wouldn't get to move. You can make it so that the buzz droids don't deal damage that turn if you jam them. The buoys
What's
could be
those- yeah, the
broken for a
buoys?
turn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you jam the buoy, and then they don't get the lock on engagement phase.
I'm so in.
I don't even.
Well, now
think
I'm starting to think like the
I don't
other
think
abilities that you can.
like
What if you can tractor them? I mean, if you're going that far, like you drop the
let's-
bomb.
I'd say let's keep it simple. But honestly, like even if Jam could do that to those things, I don't really think it neuters those things like bombs and remotes and stuff that much because you're spending an action on one of those and not an opposing ship.
Yeah.
So like, sure.
Right? Like, you want to jam my remote? Whatever.
I actually like the idea of repositioning a bomb after it dropped if you have the right tech for it.
Like a
Either
quad jumper?
tractoring it or just something that pushes it, like a sonic device that like pushes it out and like lets
It'd
you
have to be the quad jumper, right? They have the only action that's a tractor.
The
Yeah, I don't
question,
think so.
action, yeah.
the question would be, how would that function? So it has the slot
Unless
for the
it's
nubs.
fused.
You only get to move it in the nubs.
Yeah, exactly. Like I think that's how you would basically flip it to the other side potentially, right? Like you take it on one side and you flip it to the other side of the one straight.
And I don't know about moving bombs. Could you? All right, remember, we eventually will go back to physical play. Imagine if that bomb got placed underneath a bunch of ships because, like, hey, I'm going to bomb this area because there's a swarm around me.
Yeah.
Now you have to I'm going to action or shoot it, and now I got to turn it, move it, pick up all the. It sounds like a nightmare.
Awesome. I like it even more now.
I like
All right,
the elegant solution is to force it to put a fuse token. That's the elegant solution for sure. But man, that's a fun rabbit hole. How could we take effects that are in the game already and have them? I mean, Will, I'm just saying, like, if they don't take like the jamming bomb idea there,
Man, they should.
my goodness.
They should.
I'm super in. Okay, cool. We'll move on. Marcel, what is a list from the Veteran Championship that makes you go, I like that?
Actually, the one that I don't see it here now, but I think I saw it in play at one of the games was the one that had all the V-Wings and Anakin.
Right.
I don't know who played it. I just remember I tuned in for a little bit, and that's what I saw. And he was flying in information.
What did I do?
He was flying in formation, like going down the. What is going on? Your screen is doing funny stuff.
You're fine. You're fine. Keep going.
Yeah, he was flying in formation, and he was keeping Anakin in the same formation with the V-Wings instead of flanking with it, but it seemed to work really well. I think he was playing against Kylo and a couple of silencers or something like
That's
that.
Jacob. Here's what you're looking for.
Jacob Blecka,
Yep.
right there.
Yeah, so is that it right there?
Yep. So it's
Yeah, so
Anakin
you've got
Skywalker
Anakin
with
Skywalker and the
Go ahead.
ETA or ETA to Actus with Predator, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Shadow Squadron Nimbus class V-Wings. Nimbus. Every time I hear Nimbus, I'm always thinking William saying dingus. Now,
It's caught on.
it's the dingus V-Wings.
Hey, I
With,
learned it from a doctor. Okay, it's a medical term.
It's a medical term. It's a medical term that says, I don't know what it says. You're flying resistance in hyperspace. Maybe that's what it means. So all of them with dedicated, then it's going to be okay, Will. And then Alpha 3B Besh, which is the one that allows you to take a bomb. 3 of them have thermal detonators, but then ran out of points. Actually, did not run out of points. He could have put those on all of them, but I guess he wanted to bid for Anakin. And one thing that I did not realize is the 3 Besh did that I was like, wow, I didn't realize that it did that. I maybe should read the card more often. Was when you take a lock, you can spend the lock to change a die result to a hit. That's pretty good. That's optics there. I mean, you want optics? The Republic got it. And on 2-die attack guns comes in really handy now. You know, you don't have a focus, but if you're coming in, it's a good way to guarantee damage. Again, thermal detonators I liked it. And I liked the way he flew it as well. I thought it was a very unconventional way of flying. People wouldn't think of putting Anakin in a formation, especially if you're paying for a bid.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend people watch that game because watching the amount of accuracy he had in his movements, and it literally was part of the formation, like not in the exact block, but he had movements to keep Anakin there, available for the dedicated rerolls. We did get at least one game on stream with him, and it was fantastic. Now, I'm going to go ahead and steal the thunder here. If you guys didn't see me post it, all right, if you didn't see me post it, Ryan, there was probably a list that made your heart sing. All right, that made your heart absolutely sing when you saw it. Where did it go? Where are you? There. Somewhere. Did I go too far? Panic.
Just search for dingus.
Why does it keep
No,
doing that?
Thomas Veda Johansson.
That's who I'm looking for. Thomas. Nope, not Thomas like that. V-E-T?
No, it's standard Thomas spelling.
Thomas? Why am I only getting one?
You not have like the arrow up and down, Thomas?
No.
It's because you have a space in front of the Thomas. It's looking for Space Thomas, not just Thomas.
Oh, that's it. Got him. Thomas!
There it is.
Oops. Thomas! There it is. What did he bring?
Oh, you want me to take this? All right.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I was going to talk about this one anyway. We have 6 Loyalist Volunteer V-Wings, all with Besh, thermal detonators, and synchronized council. That's 24 bombs on 6 total ships. Yay, 6 ships. Me, feel good. Like Marcel just got done mentioning, Besh is pretty good, but also, so it's just a feeling. My guess is Thomas made the list, started with Besh and thermal detonators. It's like, all right, I have, because it's a 198, I have 8 points left. What do I do? Well, the Besh title already, pun intended, I'll take it, synchronizes really well with synchronized council because it's lock based, and it's another lock based upgrade that helps get locks around where necessary. I don't necessarily think that means Thomas was banking on synchronized council to use to help drive a sort of engine effect. It was more of, this V-Wing might get shot at, I need to focus. I need something defensive on my ship right now. But these other V-Wings around me, they feel pretty safe. They're at range 3. they're not likely going to get shot because of positioning and game state. They can take locks though, and hey, if they don't use it, I'll pass it on to the other guys. It's very advantageous. But also many bombs, many bombs, because you have thermal debts. And as I believe I mentioned this in the past, that they kind of act like RZ2 A-Wings in the fact that there is a threat still behind them. And even though it's not a shot, it is the threat of auto damage and area denial. If they want to go there, they're going to be rolling a 50-50 for damage. And that's not even including the potential chance of one of it or some of it being eyeball results that still do something being a strain, but it's better than nothing at all. Because bomblet generator is another type of bomb that actually only does something when you roll hits or crits, but nothing if you roll eyeballs. So Dion had posted an image showing 3 very extremely sad T-70 X-Wings. I believe a couple people that I talked to caught up with this, with the player, said he might have made a mistake on some of his dials or something, or just generally like didn't see some come. I don't know. But that's a lot of bombs to have to roll for an enemy.
Yeah. Regardless of what happened, we still got there. Happened. We still got this.
We still got there.
And for anybody, obviously our audio listeners, there are 10. You heard us. 10 thermal detonators. Somebody have been like, oh, there's only 9. There's actually one. You can barely make it out here. There's a little corner sticking underneath Temin here.
Yep.
And this bastion right here, sitting on top of this debris, ends up clipping it and is hit by all 10 of the thermal detonators. Takes 6 strain, 3 hits, and a crit. Went from full to half points with a crit after this bombing run.
Temin took a strain, 3 hits, and Nimi took 2 strains and a hit. It was just a lot, probably more rolls than you'll ever see in most games in the beginning of activation phase in one turn. And back to when we talked about the recruit championship, how many bombs there were. When I searched thermal in the veteran champ, I got 65 instances of thermal detonators, which if you do the math with 4 charges per thermal detonator, that's 260 thermal detonator tokens that can be put on the board in this entire event per round if all of them go down in the same round, which they probably don't. But there was probably so many thermal detonators in this event, we probably had at least 100 of these dropped in this event.
That's right.
A lot of bombs.
That's a lot of bombs. That is a lot of bombs. But you know, man, Ryan and Will and Marcel, I think it's really cool to see the V-Wings make such a strong play in the veteran championship. I'm curious to see, obviously we're going to, assuming of course that AMG does give us the points sometime before, Wednesday or Thursday. Not throwing shade, AMG, just saying you didn't do it today. You did say today.
I would be curious because obviously the loyalists are I2s, so they're not. The threat is there to be just sunk by I3 swarms that are 6, 5, however many ships.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it was a potential strategy if Thomas had gone up against any Barons or Inquisitors or Jedi Knights. If the strategy was not to set up a good kill box on the first engagement for something because they could dance around as necessary, play the range band engage. But if you stayed back enough to where they'd have to overreach to get to you and just get enough to where when the V-Wings on the next turn can all zoom in really quickly, block up a space, and say, I'm going to mitigate as much damage as possible to make the next turn being the bomb setup as dangerous as possible. Like, I'm just there to get these bombs into effect as quickly as possible. That's my main source of damage against as many of these ships as possible, and not relying on these shots because don't know if we're going to get quality shots.
Absolutely. So, play of the day there by Thomas Veda Johnson. Absolutely awesome. Let's take a peek at some of these other lists. Is there anything here, Will, that makes you go, ooh?
I see a lot of standard things, but Andy Bombad P. Andy Bombad. I don't know what number he is because the thing I'm looking at is not that many numbers.
Right there.
Andy Bombad. All right. This interests me because when Heralds of Hope came out, and we got the new hyperspace changes and everything,
Is somebody trolling us? Keep going. Sorry. Keep going.
No, they are trolling you. Why would they?
No. The dates are updated. I just refreshed
Hold
my
on.
page.
Everyone stop for 1
Are
second.
you AMG? What the hell? Are you? Come on! Really?
Come on, man.
All right, let's start downloading PDFs, I guess.
Oh, I'm so triggered.
Super triggered.
Hey, here's some interesting points. First Order also has an update. Not just Scum, Galactic, Empire, Rebel. I think that deals with a certain crew that got spoiled today.
Well, all right. Well, what? Update our document live? Is that what we're gonna do?
Up to new business.
Update.
All right. Well,
Oh my goodness. All right.
You want to say one final thing about the vet from each of us
Yep.
in general?
Yeah,
Did we
let's-
hit all the main points?
just the question I had. This came from our Discord, where you can always ask us questions for the podcast if you got a burning desire for answers. And it was from Samuel, Barry, and Jordan. We're all kind of asking a similar question about the recruit championships. And essentially, they had the same experience of, in their opinion, the players seemed much more adept at X-Wing than the recruit title would put out to them. Players who have done well in past GSP in real life events. Dion, what was your takeaway from the recruits, and did it cater to the players you were still hoping it would?
Yes and no. In some cases, yes. So the format allowed for something that I wasn't expecting. So there were quite a few experienced players who were willing to take a risk on a list that they normally wouldn't fly in a qualifier, and then essentially you got into the recruit qualifier playing a list that you normally wouldn't have, and you weren't necessarily quote unquote punished for it. Now, listen, I'm not throwing shade at anybody. But I think that my hope, it didn't work out exactly how I want to, but there were some legitimate recruit people who did well and will be receiving championship level swag, which is what I wanted. But I will tell you, Will, this has inspired a change in our Gold Squadron events, and I talked about it a little bit on our stream this weekend. And now to put a more official stamp on it, basically the event as we knew it now, with the qualifiers, Flight Club qualifiers, and the Flight Club championships, will not exist ever again. Not in this same format. But we will have a Flight Club championships, recruit, vet, and ace again. But the way it's going to happen is that any GSP event that you participate in is essentially a Flight Club qualifier. So people who are playing at that ace level, they are assigned the rank of ace, and then my idea here is now once a year, we say, hey, you have qualified for ace this year. You are invited to the ace championship. You are invited to the veteran championship. You're invited to the recruit championship, and this is going to give a better representation of what I wanted, which was players having events that are for their level. That's my goal. And I think that's what we're going to do. So I have some also ideas for smaller events we could do for that as well. Not just big blown out championship events, but have like a recruit weekend, like a training weekend. Like, all right, guys, this is what we're trying to work on today. It's only open to recruits. And we have that list of people because we have a Gold Squadron ID. You know, it's, you know, for me, the most important thing was making sure that we have a place for those newer players to play. All right. Have I stalled long enough for us to get some information in the document?
I would say it's actually I was thinking about it while we were casting for the recruits. Actually, if you are a recruit player and you if it's not like underperformed or whatever, because like that's a very personal evaluation, but I essentially I would like to get like feedback and maybe even like some interview questions from a couple of the recruit players who I noticed a couple of them did only like O2 drop or like 1 in 3 or so like that, and I would really not like pressuring you to like why are you so bad, but that's not my intent.
Dude, that's my question.
Well, no,
I'm usually the one that asks the bad, dumb questions.
No, I would like to go through and like, especially if you had like prepped for the tournament, like if you just like showed up day of with a list, like that's on you. But essentially want to get a comparison of like what a recruit player is doing to prepare for a tournament and it didn't work out versus say like an ace player who's doing the same thing. So if you are one of those, I know your names. We have a document of them.
We have the data.
But I'll let you volunteer if you would like to. Message me on Discord or Facebook. I got some burn-in questions for you, and they're not why are you bad. They're real, legitimate content questions.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and start taking a peek at some of these new points.
Yes, new points. But before we jump into whatever else, there were changes to the first order, like Ryan said. Not new content, just points.
Was there? No, there wasn't.
Yes,
that document. Look at the top of that document.
Yeah, I was going to say
November 2020.
So those numbers are old.
That's a November 2020 document.
So it was just re-uploaded.
I guess.
I think they might have re-uploaded. I think the only change intended, as far as we know, was going to be Protectorate Gleb.
What?
A crew that wasn't spoiled yet up until very recently on Reddit from someone who got the packs early.
Okay, I was thinking because I saw lines
It's a
in
crew
it.
upgrade that can go in Imperial, Scum, or First Order.
Is that a generic upgrade then, or do they put it in each PDF?
It's a crew upgrade that goes in Imperial, Scum, and First Order. I assume they're just going to put it in
The Scum faction?
Scum. So the funny part is, Protector Gleb, as far as I know, is from Battlefront 2, the video game. In the campaign, that person trained Inferno Squad and was training the upcoming new batches of First Order units. I have no idea why it's in Scum, but it is.
It's because all the Y-Wings are in that time period. The Hawks are
That is true.
prequels, and the Y-Wings are in the past previous.
Yeah, the Janetta, I think is how they're pronounced. Those Y-Wings were in, I think, the Battlefront 2 campaign as well.
Okay.
So we can focus on our original trilogy factions, which did have some other shakingly noticeable hyperspace changes too.
All right, well, let's hit it. Let's update this. Let's update our doc live. By the way, if you guys want,
Trying so hard.
yeah,
What faction we want to start with?
let's start with the rebellion. We'll start there. I'm gonna go ahead and copy the link to our doc here, right there. Boom. Okay, it is posted in the Twitch chat. If you want to go ahead and follow along with the points trending doc that we have here, we're gonna go ahead.
So
We're gonna go-
do you
go
want
ahead.
us to update it or read it, and then you are going to live update it?
Let's. You guys read. I'll update, and if you guys catch it before I do, then cool.
Will, do we want to do like by chassis? So like one of us starts with the B-wing
let's-
chassis,
Whatever it is.
or do we want to go one of
down
us
the- down
each
the-
doing a whole faction?
Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Chassis. Let's go chassis by chassis.
Yeah, just start the PDF for Rebels, and we'll go chassis, or we'll go faction by faction, to not break it up too much.
All right, so
Just points or some of the changes because
we're going to go with anything that
changes.
has new stuff and changes for Rebel, Empire, and Scum. So, new Rebel B-Wings. We have Hera Syndulla at 55, not hyperspace legal. All the upgrades are very standard in terms of the upgrade bar. And we have Netrem Pollard, 46 points, not hyperspace legal, standard B-Wing suite of upgrades.
and can you put the so people can see it also on the
Oh, sorry. I forgot to. Sorry, just forgot to slide it over.
And that's it for B-Wings. We just got the two new ones. Both are not hyperspace legal. Both are standard B-Wings and their base costs. Netrem is also has a talent, though. We assumed Hera would have a talent, but Netrem also has a talent as well. And a whole lot of nothing until we get down to the A-Wings. You want me to just continue with those, or Will, do you want
Yep.
to pick up from there?
No, keep going. We'll go faction by faction.
Okay. So we have Ahsoka Tano at 49 with 2 Force slots, no talent, both and hyperspace legal. So some people thought there might be a mix of talent and Force, but no, Ahsoka's actually just getting 2 Force slots for her A-Wing. We have Hera at, now this is where the thought of doing the points, because I believe it was originally reported Hera was at 42 in the A-Wing. Hera's at 41 in this PDF.
Yep.
Standard A-Wing suite of stuff with 2 talents is hyperspace legal. Sabine Wren, 36 points, 1 talent, hyperspace legal, originally reported at 37. So we've already had some inconsistencies. Wedge is 35, 1 talent, hyperspace legal. Shara Bay is 32 with 2 talents and is hyperspace legal. And Derek Clivian is 30 points, 1 talent, hyperspace legal. The Green Squadron and the Phoenix A-Wings are no longer hyperspace legal. It's just going to be the named RZ-1s for hyperspace.
these are going to be good. The hot take:
These are aggressive costs, I think.
Kira and Ahsoka will be the 2 ships that get flown the most from the new.
I like
wave.
Sabine,
That's definitely
man.
good.
That like Sabine having built-in Fearless and Protectorate, that's real good.
It is really good. I'm just saying people will fly Ahsoka and Hera more.
Sure.
Maybe not. Ahsoka's kind of pricey though.
I mean, so what? If you buy
it's a coordinator, though, right?
Hera and Ahsoka combined,
Oh,
as
guys.
is right now, is
Guys,
90 points.
Only
Leon,
the
your
new.
sound is very low for us. I think
Only-
you're fine on stream, but for us.
Only the new A-Wings have the configuration slot.
Oh,
No,
I wa-
no
it's-
vectored
so-
cannons for Jake.
so is that? I wonder if that's a misprint. I mean, we have to go by the PDF as it is, but that means
That means you can't mix and match if you're using that.
that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think it got to be a misprint. 'cause,
It's got to be a typo or misprint, because otherwise, how could the standardized upgrade work?
You're right.
Will, you're still muted.
If you don't have the slot, is it standardized?
I don't know.
Boom!
It's got to be a misprint, right?
It's gotta be. We hope so, or else why standardize it? It doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense.
it wouldn't make any sense.
For the Gold Squadron Flight Club, we're gonna go ahead and say, should we just flex
Ooh,
it and
that's a
just
bold-
say it's bold?
So-
Yeah, I think they all
it's
have-
bold.
So that's
That's bold.
the difficult part is it goes against the PDF, which is usually the Bible, right?
Right, exactly.
But it goes against almost all intentions of it. And you know what? Like right now, it's probably best to say we're going like with what it's intended to do and just follow through with AMG as we lead, because we got a few days, right, before
Right.
they could fix it. This is just the first. We could see fixes in a couple days, basically.
All right.
They always
people
fix something.
take some notes, guys. All right, and we'll compile them at the end.
Yeah, we need to be ready for questions. All right.
man,
And then moving down the list in terms of changes that are there, we're all the way into our upgrades now. Vectored cannons aggressively costed 1 point.
Ooh, that's aggressive.
That's it. 1 point for vectored cannons on your
What
A.
is vector? Oh, you mean for the reverse? You know,
For
it's
so
their
system phase, you can choose to do a red boost or
Yeah.
red rotate.
yeah, those things are bad. I'm surprised
Well,
they're not 0.
I'll say they're. We'll get to it, but they're the best costed standardized upgrade right now, probably.
That's true.
Which is sad. It is hyperspace legal too. And then some other things. We got Sabine Gunner is 2 points only. We talked about how she's not seemingly that great, but she is costed low. Is going to be hyperspace legal. We have Hopeful is only 1 point, is hyperspace legal, and the B6 Blade Wing prototype is 2 points and is hyperspace legal. And a slight little sneak preview is what may be to come. Moldy Crow is hyperspace legal.
Sure
Rebel Hawk
is.
is not hyperspace legal. Moldy Crow sure is.
I'm working on Scum, and oh man, it's
Yeah.
beautiful.
It's like, uh-oh.
It's
Did I miss
beautiful.
any other upgrades that maybe are not hyperspace legal? I think they would have shown and highlighted in hyperspace
They're-
red if they weren't.
The Scum one I'm looking through is pretty consistent right now in the colors.
I think that's it for Rebels then.
Are we just going through it, or are we having any discussion, or just reading out?
Yeah. So
mean-
any thoughts based on the Rebels one then before we move on?
Ooh, the A-wings is that's hot. That's some hot A-wings.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have a lot of 4+ A-wing lists. I think the Resistance A-wings now have a run for their money, but not because of these ships being better, the ship itself chassis being better, but because their abilities are better.
I guess my only real question is, what are you doing with Ahsoka's force slots? Patience. She is
Patience.
light side.
I think Patience is a really good buy because of her ability.
Yeah, she
You would
wants
be
to
able
get
to
that
do it
force
2
back, yeah.
successive turns in a row if you needed to.
Sure. What would you use the second one for, though?
Foresight.
That's tempting, but you're force intensive as it is.
If you're using her
know what?
ability, you could just
Yeah.
take, like we talked about, concussion missiles and just say, I have a really well mounted
Oh.
concussion missile.
Yes. Yeah. I guess at that point you just doing heightened perception or something. Heightened perception and missile.
Could
No,
do
I think
that.
you save the points.
Yeah.
Patience and missile
going
or
back
something like
through
that, yeah.
Force.
Interesting.
I mean, technically,
expect-
you can
I didn't
take
expect
brilliant
the double.
evasion, but ooh.
I will say that Yoda is the only other person with double force right now, and I thought heightened perception and patience on him was hilarious. Make yourself, or start of engagement, get a force, and then you get to shoot right away.
Yeah. If we're talking about extended,
But that's an I3 versus an I4, though, or an I3. Oh no, I guess Yoda's I3, Ahsoka's I5, so a big
I5,
difference
yeah.
for what hyper perception's doing.
potentially considering extended, obviously you have both reflexes up and also sense.
I like
I'm
Wedge too. Wedge is good. 35.
Ooh, Stents wouldn't be too bad either.
I mean, Wedge is essentially a 3-die gun out there. So
gonna do the quick math. Well, if there's anything else, like Dion, what do you think? You've been.
I'm
know you're
here. I'm
probably
trying to get
typing.
I'm trying to get our.
You working
I'm
on
trying to
what?
get our document update, our points tracking document. I'm here just like trying to organize things. The A wings, I think I heard you guys say, are aggressively costed. I really like that. I mean, it brings a new flavor to the to the Rebellion, and I'm excited to see that that all of those A-wings are hyperspace legal. I do find it interesting that they have the Hera and other B-wing, from forgetting their name, that those new B-wings are not hyperspace legal. I find that really interesting that they wouldn't make them hyperspace legal. Maybe it's just different to be different, but I don't know.
But you're right. It is really weird when the B-wing prototype title is hyperspace legal, but Hera, the one who originally flew that, isn't. Super weird. I did do the math real quick. You can fit Sabine, Jake, Wedge, Arvel, Shar, and Derek all on the list. 6 A-wings. $199.
Wow. Wow. I like that.
Ahsoka's too expensive. I don't like her.
Yeah, don't shoot flyer. She's super bad.
Yep.
I was just curious. Would it
Stop
fit?
trolling people.
It fit. And they all have very viable abilities. Like, even I'm just taking Derek because I don't have access to a green or a Phoenix. Like, but hey, he's only 30.
I mean, they did that same similar, like with Merle, is you have a name pilot that's the same cost as a generic one there. So Derek being 30, and that green that's not hyperspace legal is also 30. So that's really interesting there.
All right. Let me jump on Scum next. I got through most of it here.
I think I got the Rebels are tracking Rebels completed. I think I'll go back through it later. But let's go
I
ahead.
can look at my number for you if you want, since I just did Rebels.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, I was working on Scum, but I don't know how to add lines. I'm rusty on sheets.
I got you. Where we at? Where we starting? Y-wings?
We're starting at the top. We're starting in, I would say chronological, but you know what I mean. Top down.
Alpha order.
Alpha. This is the suite of Y-wings. This is Lima Key, Alzarin, Had Rassian, and Podrick. Those were the released Y-wings. One does bombs, another one gets modifiers while damaged. What was Lima Key? That was or not Lima Key, Lima Kai. Oh, I'm blanking on that one.
Was the if you have an enemy ship in your front, but you're not in their, like, in your front half, and you're not in their front arc, or something like that, you get to acquire lock.
Conditional free lock. That's right. Those were costed at for the free lock one Kai there at 40. The Hodgerson is the one that gets the focus conversion if he's damaged. That's 49. Project was the bombing one at 36. Compare that to like 43 of Cavill, and then a regular hired gun is 32. So you're spending quite a bit of points for those ships. But what the hired gun can't get, though, is a tech slot. These things have, these named pilots all have the same slots. That's why I'm kind of grouping them all together. That they have talent, tech, turret, torpedo, gunner, astromech, bomb. So they're missing out on the modification slot, which makes sense because these are kind of like supposed to be standardized, like security officer Y-wings. So they're probably not out there wrenching on them, customizing them. But it also means no delayed fuses, though, for them either. But they do have access to the tech slot because that's the era that these, the security force that these guys are part of are from. I don't think we got any new tech slots. We haven't gotten to the generics yet, but we didn't see any yet for them. But obviously the things like pattern analyzer and automated targeting priority, even optics, even though
they're also missing. They're also missing the illicit. No illicit either.
Yes, exactly. They're very much like, what do I say? Like, they've gone so fanatical that they're not even in the First Order anymore. These are the extreme fanatics here. Actually, I don't know if that's true. I don't want to categorize. Oh my God, what is the name of it? I said it earlier.
Hinata?
Janata. Yes, exactly. We also have, speaking of Janata, there is 2 other generics. One of them I couldn't, that Janata security officer isn't in the doc yet. But that's the I2 version. I believe the I3 then is the Maxi Warrior. They have the exact same stat bar then, with no illicit or mod traded in for the tech. And then the Warriors get the talent. They're priced just 1 point higher than their comparative scum generics, or the previous scum generics. But they get initiative on the other ones, and they get the tech slot. So I think that's probably worth 1 point just in the initiative alone. But as a caveat, those 2 generics are the only hyperspace legal for scum. The I3 Warrior and the I2 Security Officer. So we'll see what comes of them. So let's move down to, ooh, I'm so excited, for the Hawk 290. And I got to start by first, before we even get to the named pilots in the Hawk in this faction, or in the new pack, let me just point out, if this is correct, Paylob and Torkel and Dace have all become hyperspace legal.
Welcome to the age of the Hawk.
Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be an interesting weekend coming up. And wait till I get to the Empire later. We've got some
we got
fun stuff in the Empire.
Aces
No.
beacons.
Though I will say that there was some other inconsistencies in this doc, specifically the YV666 that were already hyperspace legal. So it's what it says right now, though. Currently, today, they are hyperspace legal. All right, so let's go with Kanan Jairus. First one that was previewed, the Lost Padawan. 42 points, which is more expensive than Paylob, and trades in the list or the talent slot for a force there. They do consider him light side as well, so you can take things like patience and whatnot. 42 points is a lot, but we really valued his defensive ability and his force point, obviously. Then we have the new one that was released today, Tapska.
Tapusk.
Tapusk, thank you. Tapusk was spoiled. We haven't talked about it on our show, but essentially it's he can prevent, he's I5 as a note, my new favorite Hawk, and he can prevent every other round a force charge or a reoccurring charge to come back. So that's your Dengar charge that lets you shoot, pose a charge that lets him take a second action. Any force user you can prevent every other round. So that's a steal at 36 points. All the same slots, no changes there. Then Gamat Key, which was spoiled a bit ago in the article, I believe, about the Hawks and Y-Wings. And that kid, essentially like Moldy Crow for everything. Every other turn you can hold on to a circular token.
It's basically a half a Shakti.
Yeah, it's weird blend between Shakti and ISB slicers all in one. But every other round, though. He's priced at 34 points.
That's so good, even without Moldy Crow.
That's a steal.
You throw Paylob or Cannon or Torkel or something, and then just let Gamut just. Oh, so good.
Yeah, you can easily fit 5 of these name talks on one list. Now, granted, the newer ones, Kanan Jairus, Tapusk, is that what you said? Tapusk. Tapusk. And Tapioca and Key here.
It begins.
Their all abilities don't care about arc; they care about rotating arc. So not necessary to bring the Moldy Crow. Also, as a note, they're not freighters. Don't ask me that. They don't haul goods apparently in the Clone Wars. Anyways, let's move on to here's some hot news though. Not this, but it's coming up. It's in this category of things that got removed from hyperspace. First, poll went out for the contracted scout. No one did because everyone's like nom nom. We don't care.
Yeah, we saw so much contracted scout in hyperspace. Honestly, this feels like one of those like, oh, we realized we didn't keep the convention of like named and generic. I guess we'll just pull out the generic here.
Right. They're trying to clean it up a little bit. I think we honestly saw more tell than contracted stouts. So, I guess. But here's. The next ones, and we've actually talked about them a lot in what we in our previous championships there. Not the Tasari Point veterans, but the cartel spacers are out.
That's a big one.
That's
a big one. No cartel spacers in hyperspace. Hey, but you know what, Scum? You got your Hawks. So it's not like you ran out of tools. You got Hawks. You got the name Hawks.
Yeah, you're fine. Yeah, Spice Runner didn't make it into there, so no generic Hawks, ma'am. And then also, in that same line of thinking, the TIE LN, but the Mining Guild TIE, gained Seavor, probably the best ship for that chassis.
You know what? With Paylob and Seavor on the table now,
like this.
Those Procket A-Wings are, I mean...
yeah,
like Torkel and Seavor. Not Torkel. Torkel.
Oh, you'd be like...
Paylob and Seavor. Like, yeah, I think those Procket V1s can... Like, that makes them so much weak. No, it does. I played those matches already.
Well, you got to take first player because Seavor's only I3 then.
No, but even when you shoot them, I mean, it has tools and making you initiative 1.
It is before, isn't it? Dang. Woof.
Yeah.
Seavor's going to be spicy. Probably not as spicy as Foreman Prochasa going in there.
The Foresight ones, though, they're still good.
Yeah, for the people who are used to the whole Seavor, Torkel, and 3 Kiraxes, you're going to find something else to use other than the 3 Kiraxes, but the baseline's still there, still good.
Apparently, it's Genesis Red and Sunny Bounder can slot in there, no problem. But we're going to all pour one out for Marge Sable Closures, Mining Guild Surveyors. No longer hyperspace legal. I'm sorry,
Liam Lee just slips it in by a day.
Gets it in, yeah. Yeah, those are gone. So a lot of the 3 agility swarms for Scum are now no longer hyperspace legal. Very interesting. We'll see how they bounce back from that. This PDF, as I said before, also says that Moralo Eval is now hyperspace legal, and Bosco Lots, they were already hyperspace legal, and so are the Z95. So don't know why they're still green, but that is it. For pilots,
we also have some Quadrajet Spacer Tug continued in there as a line. So yeah, there was this felt a little rushed, maybe.
Yeah, I guess so.
Here's my timeline, Will. I think they saw my tweet, right, and they were like, "Oh crap!"
Like, so it's just like pack it up, like shutting down his computer, just like, I'm gonna check Twitter before I clock out. And I was like, oh, points! That's what it was. Knew I was forgetting something today. All right, anyways, let me wrap these up so we get to Empire here before we're here all night. So this is R4B11, which is now hyperspace legal. This was the one, Brian, you were talking about. That is, remind me again.
It is, while you attack, you may spend an opponent's red or orange token to re-roll dice. I don't know how many. I can't remember off the top of my head, but that's the baseline.
Yeah, it's Geonosian prototype, the droid.
Yeah, pretty much.
Kind of. It costs 3 points. Is hyperspace legal, so that will give something for those Y-wings to get a hold of. as well. This says 000 cyberspace legal, but I thought he already was.
I don't think he was actually.
He wasn't.
No, he wasn't.
Back in hyperspace. Chambly's
Nope.
boy.
Ooh, okay.
Yep. You can see from our doc that he was not.
Oh, he was not. I didn't know if I had changed that already.
I just
Cool,
updated it.
interesting for both Scum and Empire, who may or may not have Darth Vader. We'll find out. Anyways, we got Gummet Key, which is the crew version of that Hawk. Cost 6 points.
It's pretty good.
I believe it's the exact same ability.
Yes.
Like
Yeah, it
word
is
for
the same
word,
ability.
charge for charge.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
it hurts that this is 6 and Zam is 4.
Is Zam still 4? I haven't gotten down there yet, but
well, I assume.
I don't know. Let me check real fast, because that's an amazing question.
We all know Zam
Wessel's still 4.
They're
They're
too cheap still, so we all know that.
no. I mean, they're trying to sell them packs, man. Get your Zam. We all need a couple Cloudites in our life. Anyways, I lost track of what I was looking at here.
You were
on Gamut.
Oh, I was comparing. Gamut Key is. Oh man, I can't. There's so many words in this document.
I think it was clarified in the chat that Gamut Key Crew is a little different on its range band, and in fact, Gamut Creep.
Oh, it's
Gamut
range
Key
1 instead
Pilot
of in arc.
is the arc turret only, whereas Gamut Key Crew is just range 0 to 1.
That is very true.
0 to 1 or 0 to 2?
0 to 1 for the crew. Gamma Keys himself or in arc.
You're taking it for your own ship, realistically.
Yeah, you yourself.
I think it makes it kind of expensive then, I think.
Yeah, but like double reinforced Bosk flying around. That sounds awesome. I love it.
Or just keeping a focus on a Dengar that wants to lock and shoot you with proton torpedoes. It's pretty good.
I mean, yeah, you compare it to Han Gunner in that aspect. Anyways, I think we'll see plenty of scummy tricks with the old key in there. We also got the Protectorate Gleb, which is Ryan. Refresh this again. You had mentioned it, and it's some shenanigans. It's the coordinate.
It's a crew that gives you red coordinate available to Imperial, First Order, or Scum. And after you coordinate, you may choose you may transfer 1 red or orange token from you to the ship you coordinated.
Okay.
2 points.
Okay. 2 points. Wow.
Really cheap to add coordinate as a baseline. Really cheap.
I mean, we're going to see a rise in G1As.
I don't know.
They got crew slots. I mean, anything with a crew slot now. Their Spice Runner is a coordinator all of a sudden.
The Hawks have crew.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Wow. Not in hyperspace, but.
Well, I mean, you could just put Protectorate Gleb on Tapusk. Just I-5 coordinate for 2 points. That's it.
Dude, that's so good. Oh, man. If you got Moldy Crow, that's the reason you're bringing Moldy Crow then. As a note, though, Protectorate Gleb is also Imperial, First Order, or Scum. Really playing the field there.
Feels like Scum gets the most out of Gleb because all the Imperial chassis that have crew already have some level of coordinate, and First Order's the same way.
Do they only? Yeah, because they only got the shuttles. So it seems a little bit more balanced there than obviously in Scum, where it's gonna excel.
Concerning, very concerning.
Get ready to say Gleb quite a bit here because we're going to be talking about them in the next for a long time. And then Cutthroat, 1 point for Cutthroat. Man, that's going to be good. Put it on anybody. If you got,
What does that one do?
If someone dies with Cutthroat or is named on your team, you can shred a bad token or get a charge back. We're talking, that was the one that let Tell get death charges.
Oh, okay,
back.
gotcha. That's like the infinite.
That doesn't reoccur back up every round. Doesn't have an arrow. So, like, you can't recharge Dengar's own token, but you can sure recharge Dengar's torpedoes.
Yeah. So at one point, I mean, that makes potentially an infinite life. Tell.
I cannot wait for the Tell that shoots with our SPTK droid shoots another cutthroat like Z95 or something just to get the death charge back.
That is so scummy.
That's so scummy.
Like,
They're like, no, they're going to shoot me.
You say the word so scummy, but part of me feels like that there's something miserable is going to come out of this somewhere. But we'll think about what
Yeah,
it
I'm
is.
just thinking like with a combination of Zam Crew, Gamut, the Hawks.
Because Zam isn't reoccurring. Zams can just go up too.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, you
with
kill a
everything
bunch of
combined,
zombies,
I'm
man?
just thinking like Scum is gonna have. I'm interested
Also,
for this weekend.
transponder
Like,
codes having another charge. I mean, that's Boy.
Well, you could do that with Jabba though. That's
but
that's
Jabba's not in
great.
hyperspace.
Ah.
Cutthroat is
contraband
only taking-
cybernetics. I mean, so many.
I can
Cutthroat's
see
only
why
taking
they.
1 point in your talent slot. Jabba requires an entire ship to
Yeah.
carry 2 crew
I got
and is
you.
more points.
I can see why they took out the surveyors out of this because the cutthroats with surveyors would be bananas. I thought Marge Stable Closure was getting a bit outrageous. And then also we have for the final one here, the Moldy Crow becomes hyperspace legal. And I am so ready for the Hawk meta. I am worried that that's a misprint and Paylob and Torkel aren't hyperspace legal because they're not in that pack.
Well, they are
But-
until. No, because
They-
it seems
they
like
are
they
this
made the
weekend.
whole the whole named because it seems like
Yeah, they're
it's like a
named.
name.
I gotcha. That makes sense. All right, that was Scum.
Boys are
Also,
back in
that's a
town.
lot.
As a side note, because it's the only thing that is related to the Scum pack that isn't in the Scum thing, it's in the general upgrades, is the Tirfon Belly Run talent, the Y-Wing talent. It is 2 points and is hyperspace legal only for Y-Wings.
Did they not update the generics?
They did. Maybe refresh your page, but the generic upgrade PDF is up there. It takes care of the adding the Teflon Belly Run and the sensitive controls, which is more pertaining to the Empire.
According to Discord, there is a AMG employee reporting that all A-wings should be able to take the configuration, so they'll be
Makes
legal
sense.
for.
There we go. See, solved.
Yeah.
Solved.
Yeah.
We willed it into existence. I'm still getting November 2020 on my generic upgrades, but I'll
Yeah, I think it
speed
has to
my
do with like
time.
caching issues and.
Yeah.
Oh, I did finally get to it. Yeah. All right, well, is that the only generic? Well,
The only other one
brought
is
it up?
sensitive controls, which I may as well just do it now before Marcel just jumps into Empire Giga Transition. Sensitive controls is 2 points and is hyperspace legal. And it also kind of has the look of like was written in just like really with a different font or bolded because like the restriction saying auto thruster and standardized, like standardized just like it got moved over and they like pasted a font in there in the generic to say auto thrusters there as well. But sensitive controls config 2 points, hyperspace legal. Feels very dead on arrival, to be quite honest.
I
2
know.
points.
We'll
Oy.
talk about them, but we'll talk about them more. But Laurel, not the shampoo. Laurier.
Lieutenant Laurier.
First edition throwback. I think he could be really good with sensitive controls, like an
could
advanced
see
sensor
that.
Star Viper. You know what I
I can
mean?
see that.
But I mean, you're barrel
Doing
hard
it
too,
in system phase.
instead of what Gurry does, which is literally anything after that.
Gurry does
but-
what Gurry wants.
Get into range 1. All right, well, that's the only generics then. Marcel, how are you on?
All right, I'm gonna
Empire.
start. Yeah, I'm gonna start with Empire, but the very first on the list. I cannot start this. Dion has to start this with the Dark Lord of the Sith. So Dion, you take this one.
Excuse me, let me stand for this. Okay. Now, my desk. I can't stand up my desk yet because I have to do cable management. But if you hadn't seen, it is now official. So it's time to pay the piper, friends. Darth Vader, 115 points. So I think what we're gonna do at the end of today's podcast. I don't want to do it now because I don't want to put it in the beginning of the podcast. I'll do it at the end. I'm gonna read off the Twitch names of every person who was on Team Vader, who thought Vader would be 100 points or less. 99 points or less. I'm going to read every single name. Remember, if you are on this list, you owe $10 to a charity of your choice. Take a picture of that donation. Post it on Discord and or Facebook. Tag me or Gold Squadron Podcast in it. Hashtag GSP Vader Charity Challenge. At Dion was right. Okay. Now, people who were on Team Dion, we'll do our giveaways probably on Wednesday. On Wednesday, we'll do some giveaways for y'all. But I'm looking forward to the big chunk of change we're going to give to charity here.
I think one of us here thought he'd be lower than 100. I think just one other person said he'd be around like 95 or 98.
I said 108, so maybe somebody with a beanie
here.
That was me. That might be his, in my opinion, the real price. But he's paying.
Will rolling in here like fake news. No.
Fake news. Yeah, this is those points. I'm not gonna. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. I will concede that it's probably better he's priced more because I don't want to fly against him.
I'd rather start high.
I had no interest in playing him before.
Go the dash route. Start high and
Yep. Let it fall if it does. I still think there's something there. It's really good still.
yeah, so good. It's playable, but not hyperspace. So we're not going to be seeing them this weekend.
No hyperspace.
Same thing with Volt Scarce. So Volt Scarce comes in at 82 points. Just a little bit above Colonel Vessery. I think that's probably where he should end up. And finally, Captain Dobbs at 75 points. I don't remember what Dobbs does. So
He takes an ion to prevent a damage from a friendly ship.
Okay, so he's about 15 points too expensive.
Yeah, I mean, he's just in the wrong chassis. If he was a TIE fighter, oh man, that would be the best ability. But I got some takes on Dobbs, but it's probably not very good. No.
Give us the takes while I update this piece. I'm still updating stuff. Give me the takes.
The take was just that the one forward would only be useful if you're shooting. If you have the title that doesn't give you the free evade anyways, you're shooting tracer missiles for a bunch of other ships who are just one forwarding anyways, like say bombers or something. If you're a support ship who's tanking damage, like I guess, but I don't really see any other way of getting Dobbs to work. I think he's a very, very specific build.
It's just too much to give up.
Well, so, yeah,
too many points and too much to give up with them needing to go.
I mean,
speed
I could
3.
see him diving in front of like Soontir, or he ends up range 1 of Vader. You're gonna dive in front of him, but I mean, what, you're gonna just not shoot at him? You're just gonna let him fly around?
So the general concern, right, is that type of ability existing in the Imperial faction with all its very powerful aces that already have solid ways to mitigate blanks, whether it's evades or just arc dodging, right? If you add an ability like that onto a chassis that's cheap enough, you make those aces that much more crazy difficult to kill. So Dobbs' ability is good. It's just on a chassis that's very expensive, and I think that's intended for balance reasons in the Imperial faction itself.
No, I mean, you say that, but we also get Nash Windrider in the same faction. So
True. It doesn't prevent death. It just allows you to shoot before death.
Oh, okay, I see. I've heard the story of Dark Plagueis the Wise, so I'm all versed on that.
All right. So moving on. So next we're gonna go to the TIE Interceptors. But before we even get to the new stuff, we've got this. I think is going to make also a big impact this coming weekend. So not before we get into the points of the new ships, big hyperspace news is that there was a flip-flop in what's hyperspace legal and not, and now the generics and TIE interceptors are illegal, not hyperspace legal, and the named ones are. It means Sunterfell back in back is, I think it's his first time in hyperspace.
No, he started in hyperspace back when they didn't have the different.
They didn't have
grading.
Predator, and actually when he
Well, no, they had like crack shot.
Well, I can go ahead and show off the doc here real quick. So you can see his hyperspace history is right here. So started in hyperspace July 2019 and has not been hyperspace legal since January 2020, and now he's back.
Yep, full year and a couple months off, yeah. So now you've got Sunterfell, the ace of aces, back in hyperspace. So we'll probably be seeing him this coming weekend. And Gideon Hask, new ship, 48 points. Gideon Hask being, if I'm not mistaken, the one that shoots 4 attack dice on a already damaged ship, correct?
It's the same ability as his TIE fighter, correct?
And an initiative 5, so good. I love it. Now, Sienna Ray, that
oh, here come the hot takes. Here come the hot takes.
Yeah, this has been a like a back and forth, good, not good. It's an initiative 6 TIE interceptor with a negative ability. Basically, you kill something, you get 2 stress, and that there's other stuff like if you die, you get rid of token or something like that. That's not important. You kill something, you get sloned. You get owned, sloned.
Owned by Sloaned.
By Sienna Ray. Ray or Ree? What are we going
Sienna Ree.
Okay, Sienna Ree. So look through her eyes. 48 points. What do you guys think? I was guessing 45. I would have gone with 45.
No, at 40, I think, I forget the threshold, but 46 and 45 is right around the time where you can spam like 7 TIE fighters or 5 other interceptors. So I would not want her in a 7. She can only have 6 TIE fighters with her.
So
I think this is going to be a not the same abilities, but I feel like this is going to end up being one of those like hollow. I guess it doesn't really like hollow Von Reg, but it's a situation where you look at the points and the fact that Gideon Hask and her are the same amount of points, and the Gideon Hask ability
so much better.
Is significantly better, and I think it overcomes.
I think
because
Ryan.
It overcomes the initiative. It overcomes the initiative. Now the initiative 6 is still good, but I'm going to see a lot of people likely taking Gideon first, and if you're good at flying. All right, if you got the skills, you could put Sienna Ree to work. Ryan, go ahead.
Yeah, because I'm going to fight you right after Ryan.
She's still an I-6 double reposition interceptor. What? Look, all right, so realistically, I think the cost is fair. Is it good? I think it still has a lot of good uses. It just erase the ability. Still nice. Now, granted, you can't fully erase it because there are consequences to when you kill an opposing ship. Sure. Turns out when you now have Soontir next to you, or other I-6s and extended, you can easily control who's shooting before who, and who's really going to take the kill. And Sienna's cheap enough at 48 still. I mean, that is 2 points less than only a quarter of your list to get an I-6 interceptor. And to have that, if there's the one chance where you're like, all right, I'm going to shoot with Sienna Ree first because the odds are saying I'm not going to kill the opposing ship, and then I'll finish off with Soontir. If it doesn't, if Sienna Ree just kills it, okay, like I'm double stressed. Sorry. I'm out 4 straight, 5 straight. I don't care. I'm going somewhere, make it as difficult as possible for my opponent to catch me, and then punish them as best I can if they're going to try and chase Sienna Ree. They're chasing 25% of your list just to like follow through with that second stress. I still think she's a really good value. Is she comparable in terms of like, do you take Gideon or her? I think it depends on the list. If you have Sienna Ree with some things, or say Sienna, Soontir, and a couple of things under I4, sure. I think Gideon really likes to work with things that are at his initiative or above to better have the chance to trigger his ability sooner rather than later. So Gideon, we know in the TIE Fighter, always likes to be with Vermeil or anything higher up, or other Saber interceptors if you're playing extended now. I just think there's a lot of chances for Gideon and Sienna to both work. Just depends on what you want to do.
You know what?
I want to hold on one second. I want to alter my comment. I forgot Gideon's initiative 4.
That's
right.
correct.
Gideon's
The value on Sienna. Sorry, I was thinking of him as a 5. No. Sienna Ree, Team Ree. I'm on Team Ree. I'm back.
So this is what I'm going to say.
Go ahead,
which is kind of opposite of what you would expect me to say. Because typically I'm all violence and I'm all like, let's just kill stuff, right? Actually, that's probably why I'm not a big fan of Ree, because she don't like to kill stuff. But what I'm saying is, like you take risks in order to kill things. And I understand why Sienna Ree is good. Where I don't like Sienna as a nice 6 is that one thing she is definitely not. She is not an endgame piece. So she, like, if you're thinking of her as an endgame piece, just stop. She is not an endgame piece, because an endgame piece is something like Kylo, Soontir, something that can pick off one ship at a time. You're playing against a swarm, you get down early, but then you go back and you kill things like a little bit at a time. Sienna is not that, because Sienna's not going to kill anything. As soon as you kill something, then the rest of the squad is going to jump on you. Gideon has also, where I am not in agreement with you guys at initiative 4 or 5, is I don't see Gideon as an Alpha Strike violence type of ship. I see Gideon as, you know what? I'm gonna be cagey. I'm gonna start off. I'm gonna start shooting. I'm not really gonna engage and get aggressive until mid game, like till the mid game. I don't see Gideon as because when William, you're saying like I want to pair it with I5s and I6 or maybe other I4s so they can get all the shots off and then I can trigger Gideon's ability. I'm not looking at that. I'm seeing Gideon as a mid to late game ship that is taking advantage of that ability, not in the initial Alpha Strike, because a TIE interceptor should never be in the same sentence as Alpha Strike. Like it doesn't have Concordia face off. It doesn't have so you're looking at it.
Neither does the Striker, though.
Didn't we go through the beginning of 2nd edition where we had Soontir, Redline, Whisper? If you didn't think that was an Alpha Strike, I don't know what you're talking about.
That Soontir was never jousting, and also Soontir was getting.
You could not be jousting, but you could still be part of an Alpha Strike if you have something.
You could be part of an Alpha Strike, but you were not. Like Soontir was getting focus, whether bumped or evaded focus. Like Soontir has things to mitigate that. And
But
initiative 4 ship without free tokens is not part of an Alpha Strike ever. Just not.
All right. Well, I got more opinions on Sienna Ree than Gideon Hask. Gideon Hask will be fielded and will be good. Gideon Hask might be more expensive, but we'll see how those 5 dice range 1 attacks go for him. I was doing some points calculating here about the Sienna Ree conundrum, if you will. Actually, I got to check if does Nash get a talent slot? They wouldn't give it to him, would they? Oh, they would too.
Oh, Nash has a talent.
Wow. So coming in at exactly 200 points is Sienna Ree with Ruthless, Nash Windrider with Ruthless, and exactly 5 Academy TIE pilots. So in this build, Sienna Ree only has a positive ability because I am going to come in and kill my own TIE fighter with Ruthless to shred the stress. You guys are talking up her negative ability about getting stress when she kills things, but when her friends die, after a friendly ship at range 0 to 3 is destroyed, remove 1 stress token. Now imagine if you're performing linked actions without stress. Like, I think everyone's taking the negative here is going to be like game breaking. I think you're with piling on what you had said about very specific builds. When she's not in a triple ace build, where obviously your friendlies, you don't want your friends dying, and kind of a pseudo swarm or a mini swarm with flying with her, and of course Ruthless on her, or the new one, Disciplined, I believe as well works similarly, kind of. But she is able to take advantage of an open dial. Then one of the limitations on the interceptors is the just the hard 2s, 2 banks. Is all you ever do is your turn maneuvers. You got to rely on boosting to get yourself around. But now she's got access to hard 1s, hard 3s. Could even open her up to a sensitive controls. No, I guess you wouldn't be stressed if you had sensitive controls when you shot, then would you? Yeah, probably not taking them sensitive controls on an i6. Probably not. Not if you don't have to. But I'm going to fly that Ruthless because, oh man, I can't say enough about Nash Windrider.
All right,
Man.
Stop jumping ahead.
I can't say enough. Go.
All right. So we're done with Gideon and
Sienna. Sure.
Yeah, Ray. So we've got next is Vault Scarce, and he's 46 points. Nobody cares. Commandant Goran, El Comandante, 43 points. Decent. Nobody cares. Turfiner is 42. Actually, all of these are existing already.
No,
Okay,
Vault Scarce is new.
Yeah, he's new, I get it.
He's
He's
the
new.
new i5 interceptor,
Yeah,
which
he's
is a
gonna be good
bargain at
46
46.
points. He is good at
That's
46.
pretty good.
I would fly him, but I'm trying to get down to the one that matters, which is Nash Windrider, because all these other ships on top outside of Sunterfell, at just being hyperspace legal, Nash is gonna be what makes and breaks like so many Imperial lists. So Nash Windrider, aka the Lat of the Empire, the what is the Lat's name?
The Wrath of Fel.
Yeah.
Or the warthog is the lat you're thinking of.
Yeah, Warhog.
Okay, so
Or Super Fell's Wrath.
yeah, like Warthog Fell or something like that. So Nash Windrider comes in at 40 points. Amazing point cost, I think. 40 points because things like the like you can still fit it with 5 Barons, and you can still fit it with 4 additional Foresight Inquisitors. I mean, there's just so much you can do with them. And basically, what Nash Windrider's ability says is when a ship at range is it
0 to 3
or 2? 3. When a ship at range 3, which is bigger than Warthog's range, dies, it can engage and perform its attack before getting taken off of the board. So again, now when you've got a list, and then later on we're going to be talking about the EPT that's available for these guys that will also make ships dying kind of happy. This is just going to be so good. My hot take is that we will see more interceptors in
Hyperspace.
this next tournament than we have in the last 5 tournaments combined. That'll be my hot take. more list.
All right. I was about to say, depending how far back you were going, Soontier might have something to say. But yeah, within these events, there hasn't been a lot. There hasn't been a lot of interceptors. There's been a couple mixed swarms.
There's been a couple ones with the Initiative ones, because the Initiative ones or the Initiative fours, like the generics, have been pretty decent.
Yeah, actually, we had seen a lot. So one of the hyperspace common lists that we had seen do all right was a Reaper and 4 Sabers. So now Sabers are gone. Got to find something else.
Yeah, so Nash is going to be really good, especially paired up with some of the other stuff. Let's see what's going on. As we said, the generics are no longer legal. Let's scroll down because
a couple of people are. By the way, AMG.
He's on spring break.
AMG is actually live updating some things already. So
on their stream or on?
No, not on their stream. They're updating they're updating the PDFs.
Okay, so if, people on the chat, if you guys see it, just spell it out. And
it sounds like they've already updated the Rebel ones, so the configs are on every RZ1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we were actually, not only were we right, they're probably watching, and they're like, "Oh, we missed that. We got people doing our job for us." Well, you're welcome.
We'll be here all week. We're just helping them out. We're just helping them out. That's all.
Did they fix the B-wings? The new B-wings? Did they put them in hyperspace?
No,
those were red nose for a reason.
They were red. That means like Ryan said, they were red because that was right.
I feel like the only thought process in that, maybe not the only, but the equal comparison is, hey, the Y-wings, or sorry, the B-wings, we're not putting the named ones in hyperspace, just like we're not putting the named defenders in hyperspace. That's
right.
the crossover.
There's Blades and 10 and Braylon.
Yeah, but the other B-wings the other named ones are in hyperspace. 10, Braylon.
I don't know.
The Rebels were the weird faction when it came to hyperspace in the first place. They have all mixes of generic and named.
Yeah, they just throw you whatever you need.
Okay, so moving down the right, the TIE Defender Elite configuration is now hyperspace legal, and it is worth 2 points. I think that's, if we're gonna get anything dead on arrival on this one, I think it's that one. Just because some people might take it, but if you're taking it, as Tyler Tippett would say, you're wrong. Like there's no gray area for the man. And Darth Vader crew is now hyperspace legal. I personally think that's a big one.
Oh, see,
Darth Vader crew is
that's
good.
probably why. So 000 is not available in Scum, but was available in Empire. But Vader was nowhere to be seen in hyperspace in Empire, so 000 couldn't even be in Empire anyway. But now he can because Vader crew is back in hyperspace.
That's going to give something for patrol leaders to do.
Mm-hmm. And then we got Protectorate Gleb, which we already talked about. He's also available for the Empire. Disciplined. This is the other one. Actually, let's say before we jump to Discipline, Interloper Turn. It's
this
a
is the
Defender
one.
Standardized one that gives you like what is it? I don't even know what it does. It's
You
like
take a tractor when you.
That's like reposition, right?
It's basically saying, would you like to barrel roll or do a straight boost for an agility before you move?
Now,
So let's.
question.
Hold on. Let me read the card.
Would you take this on Vader?
Wait, let's. What's
Vader
the
does not
card
have
for
a
people
talent
who?
slot.
Yeah.
Let's.
Talent. You're right.
Trust
Sorry,
me.
Dion, what'd you say?
Let's read. Have somebody read the card.
Yeah. Let me read the Interloper Turn.
Go ahead and
'cause this
read the
one-
whole thing.
You're going to need to wrap your head around this one. So, before you execute a speed 1 to 2 turn, which is red on these defenders, or a speed 1 to 2 kilogram turn, also red. If you are at range 0 to 1 of an asteroid, this is before you execute it, you're range 0 to 1 of an asteroid structure or huge ship, you may gain 1 tractor token. So this is like the goofiest advanced sensors for full throttle defenders who would all have these as red maneuvers. I do not believe it works with Ryad because she... Oh, it might work with Ryad's 1 and 2 case.
The K turns, yeah.
Give I double check with D on that one, but that actually sounds like it might work. Ryad's 2K, but otherwise though, if you're the tie D, the double shot one, those are actually all, well, the turns would be white, so you would be able to pre-position booster barrel roll with your tractor token, and then still be able to regular booster barrel roll after that hard turn. So pretty interesting. I think this is very much a tie D upgrade, so you can get your lock or whatever. What do you guys think? What is the point of this?
Well, the point of it is that, and I think what you said, because if you're giving up your free evaded at speed 3, then you're probably doing low speed maneuvers because you're not trying to get that anymore. So then you might as well get a reposition. And at one point, why not? It's just 1 point, especially if you got some of like Vessery or one of the I4, 5, 6.
I mean, compare it to
I4 or I5s. 10
points for advanced sensors.
But you don't get it in hyperspace advanced sensors.
I know. Well, I mean, true.
Yeah, you don't get it in hyperspace. So this is a hyperspace, like, for 1 point in hyperspace, and even advanced sensors would be 1 point if you're going with the tie D route. So I think it'll almost be stapled to the tie D upgrade. If somebody wants to do the double shot,
agreed.
they want to be able to have this so they can guarantee their actions in order to have a really good double shot, a double tap. Double tap does not require a lock or anything, right? It
does require a lock. You have to have the lock to shoot your primary afterwards.
Okay, so this is a way of guaranteeing that you're not going to bump or run over a rock, and you can get that lock, so you can get your double shot, and you're not so much worried about losing your free evade. But more importantly, is the disciplined talent only coming in at 1, and I think they did this because the Leia one, the Hope one, and the Scum one came in at 1 point, so they're like, yeah, let's make disciplined 1 point as well. But in my personal opinion, this, like, they got the best, right? I don't know, do you have it?
Yeah, I can read it to you.
Yeah.
After these are in Yasby, but they're not pointed out right now. After another friendly ship at range 0 to 3 is destroyed, if that ship is limited or has the disciplined upgrade, you may perform a target lock or barrel roll action.
So I love this. At 1 point on my, you're getting rid of the Ruthless now. So just get Ruthless out of here. Because now I'm loving this on my Procket, because what happens is you can go ahead and move if you're not sure if you're going to die or anything. You just do your actions, whatever. But the TIE V1s have the barrel roll link to focus action. So if you either bumped or if you've got a sacrificial lamb that you're just going to throw out there, this is a really good way to, get your tokens up. Also, just go in and evade with everyone, get a focus, or barrel roll to line up that bullseye if you got the Procket, or just get the, barrel roll and focus to get the tracer round off if you need it. So the tracer guys can potentially move, target lock, and if somebody ends up dying, they can get the focus for the double modification on the tracer round, and now you've got everybody focused and everybody target locked for the attacks. So and you can barrel roll to line up the bullseye as well after everything is moved. So I like it that way. And then additionally, I was looking at this for the any TIE interceptors, something like getting Hask, who might benefit from it. Again, with the actually, does it allow TIE interceptors to get a target lock? I think it does, right?
Yeah, because you can take any action you want. It's just what action's on your action bar. But I think I see what you're going with that.
They don't have action. They don't have target lock action on their action bar. So would this allow them to take a target lock action?
It would allow them to take a target lock action. Yep.
Okay, so it's a good way to get target lock.
One thing with both hopeful and discipline specifically is that you're going to want to put your ships in situations to where They're not stressed. So any linked actions you have, you're going to have to plan your maneuvers if you want to take advantage of it around not relying on the linked actions. Not that you can't use them at all. There's going to be times you have to realize that you're going to have to weigh the options. Should I link? Or is one of my ships likely going to die? Or I need to threaten the fact if a ship dies that I could do my trick. When is the right and wrong time?
Did we read Disciplined yet? I don't feel like we
I
did.
think William did, but we're really
just-
again.
Yeah,
After
just
another
did.
friendly
I'm sorry,
ship at
I
Ranger
must
to be
have-
destroyed, that ship is, if that ship is limited or has the same upgrade on it, you can perform a target lock or barrel roll.
Yep.
The V1s can barrel roll link to focus, and then the TIE interceptors can target lock, which they normally don't get target lock, can target lock and then also link to a auto thrusters link to a barrel roll or boost to get those shots in. Probably more beneficial in the V1s because they're I3s, but because the I4s are the only ones with the talent slot from the generics.
Hopeful's very similar. It's just hopeful instead of discipline, and then it's boost and focus, which innately, because a lot of ships like to focus just as a base action, boost is still extremely powerful though, so it's hard to say if they should have different costs, but I feel like discipline is better just because the simple game mechanic that it's harder to get a lock on an enemy ship that might move after you, which is what discipline can really threaten, versus just taking the focus and then saying, well, hopeful the only thing it's going to trigger for me is boost because I can't take two of the same action in a turn.
Yeah, and another thing is we've been talking a lot about this weekend, or I've been talking a lot about this weekend because my mind is on this weekend. I'm seeing this, like, how do you guys see this playing out, this particular upgrade playing out in ships like, like the TIE Bomber and things like that?
TIE bombers. Hyperspace. It's hyperspace this weekend, right? So there's no TIE bombers.
It is.
No, I'm saying my mind has been, my whole conversation today has been mostly on hyperspace because it's a hyperspace.
Oh,
weekend.
like what else?
But I'm asking,
Gotcha.
like this is my life because this is where I'm playing this weekend. But other people are playing extended or just for funsies, casual. Like Discipline has a lot more use outside of hyperspace. There's a lot of ships that can benefit from that ability. Very cheap ships that have the EPT slot that can benefit from having a target lock when you spam them.
I like the TIE Bomber.
Yeah, but you got to
Potentially
be the gamma though. You have to be unique, or you have to be disciplined, right?
Yeah, you have to be
So
the initiative.
you got to also
31.
think that depending on the ship chassis, is it worth going up? Because it's not really a 1-point upgrade. You're paying for the upgrade itself and the cost it takes to get a talent slot, however.
Unless you're a Baron.
Unless you're a Baron, correct. So it depends on the value you get. Obviously, going from an I1 interceptor to
TIE
an
fighters, they're pretty cheap.
yeah, you can go with that.
Even the I3 TIE fighters are pretty cheap.
Yeah,
They are.
it's just a matter of spending the value on those points and whether or not it's worth going up that route. Because going from an I1 interceptor to an I4 has much bigger difference in initiative. So we've already seen that is more value than some of the other talent jumps we see in most other ships.
So I think you might be, or let me phrase it a different way. Another way to think about this upgrade would be for your lone TIE Bomber in your Imperial salad, where you got Nash, you got Darth Vader, you got some other named bomber, whatever, the Deathfire one. And then you got just a generic bomber. Essentially, if you are a generic in a generic with a talent, I guess, in a list full of named pilots, the other named pilots don't need the discipline, just you as the generic, right? So I could see it as like a failsafe of like, oh, well, they killed my ace, but at least my bomber is gonna hit you real hard with the target locked attack. Then
Yeah, with a target lock torpedo or something, concussion missile. Quick question with Nash. Again, I'm thinking of Nash as part of a. It's part of a
I mean, he could be hanging out with a whole bomber squad. That sounds awesome.
Yeah. But if you're looking at
Or the
Nash
bombers.
in a different kind of list that is not trying to die, Nash to me seems like a throwaway piece. Like, you just put him at range 1 and stuff and be like, I'm always going to get a shot. I'm blocking. I'm low initiative. And if you kill me, you know what? I'm still going to get my shot off. I'm still, Fell's Wrath. So you can have him with, with Gideon, Sunter.
Does he? Let me read his card one more time to ask about.
Works on himself.
Yeah, but how is it worded? Can he get a lock if he's disciplined while he's dead?
It's another friendly ship. So the bomber would have to be like Nash would be the one that comes in, lock and shoot, and but because he's not unique, then it triggers.
The ship that
it would trigger, but it wouldn't.
If everyone
I see.
If everyone has discipline, the ship that dies will take advantage of Nash's ability, but cannot take advantage of its own discipline on itself.
Okay.
Other ships will be able to
the 0 to 3 was messing with me there, but I do see another friendly ship now.
Yeah. I was
gonna say that's pretty disciplined to just be like, well, I'm done. Witness me and take a target lock on
target lock in a barrel. So one thing to note is as AMG has been updating these, they did update Hera Syndulla and Sabine's RZ1 cost. Hera is no longer 41, she's actually 42, and Sabine is no longer 36, she is 37. There's a 1 point typo on that.
Wow, they already nerfed her. Okay, all right.
We got a nerf.
It's been less than an hour, and they're already nerfing these A-wings.
I think we're gonna take credit for that because we were saying we're gonna take Sabine and we're gonna take Hera. We're not talking about Ahsoka.
Well, so here's the thing though. Like, remember I said like all 6 named RZ1s fit in a list besides Hera and Ahsoka. I had 1 point left, and only Sabine went up by 1. It's still 200.
Oh, nice.
All right, so you said Sabine is how much now?
37.
What? And Hera's 42.
42.
Got it. Updated. Wow, absolutely hilarious.
All right.
All right, we gotta jump into the generics, right? I know we're it's starting to get.
We already talked about generics.
We already took care of the 2 generic upgrades: sensitive controls and the belly run. That's it.
Okay, I must.
So what are you guys thinking is going to make the biggest splash this weekend?
In hyperspace or
no, this weekend
as new ships.
This weekend in hyperspace, what's going to make out of the new hyperspace, not just new ships, new hyperspace. So soon,
I think it's going to be Hawks.
Soon is going to be big. So in each faction, I think Ahsoka for Rebels, I think Soon Tier being hyperspace legal for Empire, and then Hawks and Scum. I mean, obviously, taking out cartels is big too, almost just as much as bringing Hawks in.
I think that's like the biggest one. Taking out the cartels have been.
Yeah, well, I'll be honest with you, we really haven't seen Spacers and Tracers do well. They do well in Swiss, but they don't do well in Cut.
Yeah, and we've actually seen
Swiss knocks out stuff that matters.
Yeah, so
right, they're a keeper for sure.
We've seen the slight variation where it's transitioned to Nomlam with Zam and some Torps and space and a mix of spacers. Mm-hmm. That is actually, I think, more recently had higher placing than a pure spacers tracers.
I think it made the Z95s more valuable. If you want to still play that type of game, you're just kind of downgrading a little bit from cartel space.
Well, Ryan, you flew something similar to what the Nomlam list you described with Tracer Z95s in there as well.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a mix.
On a Wednesday?
Yeah, I did. It was because we had to bring 3 or 4 different chassis, and I think it was 3 in Scum. Mm-hmm. Dion put that in. I was like, I brought Nomlam, I brought Spacers, and I brought Z95s.
I'm sorry, wait. Dion, like on our
He's talking it
screen,
up, man.
yeah, on our screen, you're like super
It's
tiny
frozen.
because you're 1/8 of 1/4 our screen size. But I just looked at the Twitch, and what in the world are you doing, buddy?
He's flying some hawks, man.
Like he's
Talk
just
about
he's having a ball.
I'm having a
flying some
good
hawks.
time. This is the era of the hawk.
Is that your prediction for this weekend?
That's my prediction right here. We got hawks on hawks.
Oh.
Dang it.
So, like, the thing is that M3As are still in hyperspace. You just don't get the generic ones. So Sunny Bounder's there, only 2 points more. So
Just not
move some
spamming.
points around. We saw Genesis Red do well just recently. Put a torp. Sarasu still there. Sarasu can support some generics. Not any 3 agility generics anymore. Doesn't mean you can't support other stuff.
I do think you are right, though, that without the filler TIE fighters and spacers, we would expect more hawks. I got hawks in my mind. We'd expect more Z95s, but I just don't think people like Z95s. I
They're
love
good.
Z95s.
No,
but I still
and you
can't
protect
fly
your
'em.
tracer guys with the false transponders. Just make sure they're well protected. You get 2 of them. They're super cheap, 26 points for each. And then you can put like some concussion missiles on them. That's 28 points for a concussion missile Z95, where a tractor spacer is 29. So a concussion missile Z95 is 1 point less than the tractor beam does 0 damage. I mean, there's other benefits. So you can still do the ZAM with, you can do something like ZAM with, what's his name? Namlam and a torpedo, ion torpedo, proton torpedo. Then you can do a bunch of Z95s and then throw in there just for good measure a Torkel to make sure that the most dangerous thing isn't shooting until everything has gotten its turn.
Yeah, they didn't.
Yeah.
They didn't change that, did they? No.
No.
Now you're making me worried. I got to go back to
They didn't change what?
what Scum pilots are, or Scum Hawks.
No, all of them are.
Torkel? Wow, I
Torkel
think
is there.
that's. I'm gonna say
Torkel is there.
biggest splash. Locking it in. Torkel, gonna be tearing it up in
Yeah,
hyperspace.
because you can put Torkel, a bunch of Z95s with ordnance, Namlam,
options.
and just, and then you put the Gamut on Torkel to get,
Ugh. Got him. Got him. That one.
You know what would be like really sad? Hey Zam, what if you were I-0? Hey Zam, what if you didn't get your Dooku charge back?
Oh yeah.
Boom. We might see the fall of Zam, and of course it's like Scum eating itself, right? It's nobody else. It's just Scum coming in and
Whoa,
destroying
Zam
itself.
separatist.
Zam separatist, buddy.
Whoa.
I'm talking about.
Whoa.
I'm talking. There's a crew card that is also Zam.
It's both.
Backpedaling.
It's not. How is it backpedaling? It is literally the fact.
Yeah, but the Zam pilot is the one that's been making waves, not so much the Zam crew. Zam crew is good, but Zam, Django, Zam, +2. So,
And Dion, you remember this from one of the events. What the Iron Man Matt Carey himself, you recall, he was running a Dengar with Zam crew and some Torps, a Seavor,
Yep.
a Paylob, and it was a Kirax. You could find something else there. It's doing pretty good. Figure that out. I mean, you got some other
a
Hawks
lot
to
of
play
the
with
pieces
now.
are there. A lot of the pieces
you
are
can
there.
turn that Kirax into, I don't know, Tapusk. You can do Gamut Key.
Tapusk.
So here's
36
the-
points for Tapusk. Oh, that's so good.
here's the $1 million
So good.
question. With all this great new stuff and all this meta shifting that's going to happen, because it's going to happen. I mean, this is the big one. Mm-hmm. Where does that leave the resistance?
Sadder.
Sell.
So sad.
Sell.
So sad.
Well, okay, here's one thing that wasn't brought up. We're going to go really quick back to the veteran event. There was a higher placement of a resistance list, if I recall.
There was quite a few
was
extra hyperspace.
Top 32. Andy, so the unfortunate gentleman who ended up getting bombed by all those fee wings brought a resistance list that I feel is one of the better resistance lists in hyperspace. Jess Pava, Mimi, Bastion, and Temin Wexley. I actually got the chance to try that list out. I've always head simmed it myself. I'm like, yeah, Temin can help this a little bit. You know, when you
I got cut off trying to bring this list up. By something very important. But keep going, Ryan. Keep going.
Until you have Temin on the board in game states, you are likely underestimating how much he can do for you. It's so much more often that a calculate trade for a strain is still in favor of you, and you get to make that decision at start of engagement. So all three of the other ships can double modify themselves. If Temin has a good valuable shot and he's not being threatened as much, lock. Flip my SFOs up with myself. I now have a lock with a calc.
There you go.
If my ships are doing K turns towel rolls, that's the obvious one we've thought of before. Calculates for a strain. If you want to do a self bump, close your wings, self bump, get a calc. If you're gonna end up bumping into opposing ship, close your wings, bump into a ship, get a calc. It's fly over a rock, get a calc. Like Temin's dishing out calcs like almost an entire droid swarm at times. It was pretty impressive, and there's so many more iterations of when that can trigger, and it's still in your favor even when you take the strain. Mm-hmm. It's very good.
Well, I mean, we lightninged through these points. There's a lot to look through. I know, because I was updating these documents. I don't feel like I am fully I need to dip myself more into these points after just sitting here trying to update documents here. But from what I was able to observe, absorb is the word I was looking for. We got a lot of interesting new pilots, interesting new upgrades, and this weekend the aces are going to have to compete and decide, do you go with the old meta or the new? We have points, 6 days. You got 6 days to make a decision on what you want to fly. Now, I would say most people probably had an idea of kind of where they wanted to go. The question was what was going to be hyperspace legal and what was not. Most of it is, some of it's not. Let me know, if you are watching this tomorrow on YouTube, let us know in the comments down below. What do you think is going to happen here? What do you expect to see? Those of you watching live, most of you guys are part of our audience that we have on the weekends. This Wednesday, gents, you guys want to mess with some of this new toys?
New points.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Extended, right? Extended or hyperspace?
No, hyperspace.
No, we got to do hyperspace.
One more week.
One more week.
Okay, almost done. Actually, I'm the opposite of Ryan. I'm like almost done. Almost freedom, and and Ryan's like,
I'm just staying in my little fort, away from pre-position, repositions, reflexes, advanced sensors, Vaders, scary things.
Well,
scary.
Hopefully you all enjoyed today's podcast. I know that it was, I don't even know how to describe today's podcast. Unconventional is maybe the word.
What's the list of the week?
What's the
All right, so now on to questions and list of the week.
Yeah. At 11:30, I think it's time to go to bed. But hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We will be back, of course, next week with another podcast where likely we won't have our subject matter that we planned end up being available halfway through our podcast. So thanks for watching, everybody. We really appreciate you. Hopefully you had as much fun as we did. And by the way, if you want to take a look at our points trending, our points trend tracking document, that'll be linked in the description down below. I should probably link this in the chat. What exclamation point what? Exclamation
Points.
point.
Probably
Points?
points, right?
No. Do it.
Chart. Exclamation point chart. Exclamation point Excel. I don't know.
Points. I think points is probably costs.
Wait. How do you check how many GSP things you have?
Oh,
it
that is
credits?
exclamation point points.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
that
we
is.
can't use
Yeah.
points. So it's got to do costs, or someone recommended March for like the new stuff in March.
Let's take Frostwalker's points update.
Tracker is probably
Tracker. Ooh, so
tracker. Exclamation point tracker.
That's
is
literally
is,
what our tracking document is called. So
Dion, I did notice vectored cannons needed its point in there. It's the only thing I caught in Rebels.
Yeah,
Obviously, the updates.
I'm gonna be going through the the work isn't done. We're gonna shut this off, and I'm gonna go through the PDFs again and double, quadruple, triple check. I'll hit F5 a few times on the FFG site and see what happens. But thank you to AMG for getting this out there, and of course, thank you. You know, this is something interesting. Of course, we were a little peeved that it did come out super late in the day when most people were hoping that it would come out earlier. But kudos to them for finding mistakes and correcting them in the night.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is definitely past their work hours.
This is
Everyone who was like, "Oh man, what are they doing?" And well, clearly they had a really busy day. Mm-hmm. Or we're reminded of them. It's a Monday, so it's after the weekend. We come back from the weekend, you're like, oh wait, that was on our list of things to do.
yeah, they did spend all weekend having them their minis extravaganza. So
Yep.
I'm sure they needed a day to cool down and get all catch up on their regular work.
Yeah, big shout out to them for obviously doing this in out of normal work hours.
You know what? This is my takeaway. So my takeaway from them putting it out at the time that they put it out and making the changes is I think they've got a lot to learn as far as the game mechanics and balance and stuff like that, just because it's tribal knowledge, right? There were developers in the past, there were don't have that tribal knowledge. Somebody that starts playing 6 months ago doesn't have that historical information of when something goes up in points, oh, now I can break it again. So I ain't worried about them being perfect from the gate. I just appreciate that the effort is there. So that's my takeaway. I just seeing not just the release, but more so than the release, because you can schedule a release. You can put a post and then schedule it to go out at any time. But seeing the updates to a release just shows a level of effort that that is nice to see. You want the game that we care about most. You want to know that the developers are invested in it. So that's a good, really good sign for me. It's something that I appreciate.
Yep. And that's we'll end right there. So again, thank you to AMG getting it out for the updates. We really appreciate it. We'll see everybody next week, and we'll see you Wednesday starting at 5 p.m. Central. I don't know, maybe earlier. Again, I'm on spring break. It depends on what's going on at that time. Maybe I'll go rogue and do something early. Who knows? But for sure, at least by 5. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. Be smart, be safe, and have a wonderful, wonderful evening. Gold, Squadron, or day, or middle of the day. It really depends on when you're watching. Just be good. Gold Squadron out.